Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Triple Crown Wargaming Studio, where you join us for another one of our Old World deep dives. Today, to my right, is the illustrious, ever-charging, or counter-charging, Duke.
Hello.
To my left, he is an undead husk that raises from the grave to try and defeat his enemies on the battlefield. It's the Oracle.
Not fit enough to be undead.
His name doesn't match the description, but fine.
It's fine, doesn't need to.
Sure.
He's using Tomb Kings a lot at the minute. That's right, that's where I went. So what was I supposed to say? He's a cheeky lizard. Use take two. He's a cheeky lizard. The Oracle. And leading you on with arrogance and an importance that belies his skills is none other than myself, the Loremaster. And today, as you've seen from the front, that was very Loose Women-esque actually. I just thought, I've had a week off work.
Other daytime panel shows are available.
So today, as you've seen from the images, we're going to be talking you through the Orcs and Goblin Tribes army. So we're going to go through the army list. We're going to look at some items and special rules. And then we'll go through all of the figures.
Yep. All the units and characters.
Before we do the shiny stuff, as it used to be called.
Yes. All the magic items and then spells as well.
So, army list composition?
Yes, the Grand Army composition, as it is known.
I'll let you get stuck in.
Okay. So characters-wise, as per, up to 50% of your army's points value. On 0 to 1, Black Orc Warboss, Orc Warboss, or Orc Weird Knob per 1,000 points. And then any number of Black Orc Big Bosses, Orc Big Bosses, Orc Weird Boys, Goblin Bosses, Goblin Shamans, Night Goblin Bosses, and Night Goblin Shamans. A lot of Shamans.
It's quite important though, all of that, because
yes,
a lot of stuff is unlocked by having
certain characters.
Yeah, certain sort of stuff. So you need that flexibility of being able to take quite a lot of things, I think.
Yeah. Core then, at least 25% as per on Orc mobs, Goblin mobs, Snotling mobs, Goblin Spider Rider mobs, and Goblin Wolf Rider mobs. 0 to 1 Night Goblin mobs per Night Goblin. Now it says Chief or Night Goblin Shaman. Night Goblin Chiefs aren't a thing, so clearly it means Night Goblin bosses.
Yeah. Same difference.
Same difference. 0 to 1 Night Goblin Squig Herd per Night Goblin Chief or Night Goblin Shaman.
What I quite like about this though is that I can have one Night Goblin Shaman and
have a unit
of Night Goblins and a unit of Squigs, because it's not kind of they're not bracketed in the same group.
Yes. And then if your general is a Black Orc boss, then 0 to 1 Black Orc mobs can be taken as a core choice.
And to be fair, I'm not sure why he wouldn't be a Black Orc. I know we've not done that on the channel, but it's because we haven't got... Oh, no,
we have on with them.
Yeah, we didn't have the Black Orcs to go with it, did we? Because someone who's not here hadn't painted his Black Orcs.
And then special, any number of Black Orc mobs, Troll mobs...
Sorry.
Troll mobs, Orc Boar Boy mobs, Orc or Chariots, Goblin Wolf Chariots, and Snotling Pump Wagons. 0 to 1 Night Goblin Squig Hopper mobs per Night Goblin Chief or Night Goblin Shaman, and 0 to 2 Goblin Bolt Throwers per 1,000 points.
4 Bolt Throwers at 2k is not bad.
Yeah. Rare, up to 25% of your points value can be spent on Arachnorok Spiders and Giants, any number of those. 0 to 1 Mangler Squigs per Night Goblin Chief or Night Goblin Shaman, and then 0 to 1 Goblin Rock Lubber per 1,000 points, and 0 to 1 Doom Diver Catapults per 1,000 points.
That feels harsh.
It's no harsher than most other armies.
No.
Really.
Not really.
Do Bretts get limited on their trips?
Yeah.
It's
0 to 1 per 1,000.
And Cascade, it's all the same, mate.
Yeah, it's all the same. Bless you. Up to 20% of your army's points can be taken on mercenaries, and then up to 25% can be allies, which can be any Orc and Goblin Tribe Army of Infamy, which are out now in the Arcane Journal, forgot what they were called, and then any one of the following Grand Army compositions: Warriors of Chaos, Beastmen Brayherds, which are both uneasy, and Tomb Kings of Cavalry, which is suspicious. And then you can upgrade a single big boss, that's either Orc, Black Orc, Goblin, or Night Goblin, to be your Battle Standard Bearer for 25 points, as per normal.
Yeah. Cool. So let's look at some tribal special rules then.
Yeah, nothing really to write home about there, is there?
No, not really, if I'm honest. It's pretty standardised, other than needing the Night Goblin characters
quite
to unlock the Night Goblin
on the Night Goblin stuff, which is a bit of a shame.
But the characters are like 30 points. So
they are not expensive.
I'm not against the restriction, to be fair, either.
Okay, fair.
we'll get to that.
But I don't think that's going to stop the thing that you're unhappy about.
It's not. It won't.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely won't stop it.
It just
but I
adds
still
a little bit of
particularly now, as
I still don't have to like it.
unlike earlier rules where I had different laws of magic for my wizards, depending on whether they were an orc or a goblin.
Yeah.
That doesn't really have the same kind of effect now. I know there's a little bit
slightly
of that,
different,
but not
yeah.
enough that I would probably care about.
No.
Just going with goblin shamans to fill
Yeah,
up
that's fair.
the gaps if I needed
That's
to.
fair.
Sorry.
That's all right. Also got to be strong special rules. So they've got a good chunk, to be fair, more than quite a lot of armies. I mean, they're like spread across 2 pages, which
Yeah.
I think Tomb Kings is barely 1 page when I think about it. But yes, I mean,
This first special is sick.
Yeah.
They're just really sick.
Yeah,
Have a good day.
also they're not as strong after the FAQ, but
No, less strong.
either way.
Still sick.
Also got to try special rules. Starting off with big uns. When engaged in combat, a model with this special rule has a +1 modifier to its strength characteristic and gains the Armor Bane 1 special rule. Really
Very
good.
good.
Just
Yeah.
every round, not on the charge, just you're in combat.
Used to just be the first round.
+1 strength
Right
and
on
Armor
the
Bane.
charge,
Really
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, and this is for you can have effectively 2 units of these. At least that's how we've
We've
sort of
looked
gone
at
with it.
Yeah, it's tricky.
So you can have like a mounted unit and a not mounted
I
unit.
think
be big ones.
these were
Very
one that this list was one that needed a bit of help with an FAQ in terms
Yeah.
of like the way big uns interact. We'll talk about that a bit later.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem to happen. I think that's a real shame. So make sure you keep emailing Games Workshop about big un interactions. 'Cause,
Yes.
we have made some decisions, and we'll talk about that in a little
Yeah.
while. Actually,
Yeah.
some decisions. But it's just as you say, 2 units because of that decision.
Mhm.
Tricky with these to know exactly what the intention was.
Yes.
And then you've got to also weigh up, well, should you be playing for intention or should you be playing for as written? Because that's another problem. But we'll slide that aside for a minute. Big uns, very good.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. Next up, choppers. During a turn in which it charged, a model with this special rule may reroll any rolls to wound of a natural 1 and improves the armor piercing characteristics of its weapons by 1. Really strong. But there is a caveat with that this special only applies to non-magical weapons and does not apply to the model's mount. If the model is using a magic weapon, this special rule ceases to apply.
Yeah.
So, more restrictive than some of those other types of rules that armies have in terms
Yes.
of it only happens when I charge.
Yep.
But less restrictive in that almost all the other rules like that are hand weapon only.
And single hand weapon.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
non-magical single hand
Yeah.
weapon. Whereas
So
with this,
paired
I can
weapons,
use it on
great
paired
weapons,
weapons, great weapons.
Anything.
Sorry, 2 hand weapons in it rather, additional hand weapon.
Yeah.
Great weapons, spears.
Spears? Can
Yeah.
orcs take spears?
They can, yeah, on the boards.
All boys.
Yes.
All
Yeah,
boys
yeah.
can as well,
Yeah.
can't they? All boys mobs can take spears.
I don't think they can. I think they can take. I think you can have arrow boys or sword and ball
They
boys.
used to be able to take spears, I think.
No, I don't think so.
Well, either way,
We'll find out soon.
better than other people's choices.
Yeah, I think you lose
Yeah.
a bit in terms of when you get it.
Mm.
I don't know. I think
They
No,
can't
because
take
it's better because can they? Yeah, I thought so. It's better because they also improve the armor piercing characteristic by 1. It's not just armor bane; it's +1 AP.
Yes.
Everybody else that's got that rule, like obsidian blades or things like that, for like the
Yeah.
lizard men or Lithomar weaponry or whatever it is. Is it
Ithilmar.
Ithilmar, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it's all the time, but it's obviously hand weapons only, and it's only
Yeah.
the re-rolls. Whereas
well,
this
well, yeah,
is,
I mean they do have different abilities. Cromwell weapons are -1
Mm.
for that, but
yeah.
I do.
having to charge is tough for infantry, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it is. But
Yeah,
I
but
do
obviously-
like that it affects multiple types of.
Yeah,
No,
I do
magic.
think that's
It's not
been a
just
miss
infantry,
in
it's
some
not
of the
just
other
anything.
armies.
Yeah.
Particularly additional hand weapons were the one that I think is a real miss out on that. I've got a hand weapon, it's made of Gromrel, but if I take a pair, it suddenly stops being made of Gromrel. It's very
Yes.
odd to me. The same with Ithilmar ones. If I take a
Yeah.
second sword, somehow they interfere with each other. I don't understand that.
I don't know.
But yeah, so that's a bit of a shame. But
Yeah.
that's a decent rule overall.
Mm-hmm.
Du Bois.
Yeah, the boys indeed. Not to yeah. I was going to say not to be mistaken for De Beers, famous diamond mining company.
or Du Bois, as in famous Netflix television show, age appropriate viewing, please.
Also on Amazon Prime.
Is it Amazon Prime, not Netflix?
Other streaming
Amazon Prime.
services are available.
Tell me you're old without telling me you're old.
But the boys, yes. Your army must include one Black Orc boss for every Black Orc mob it includes, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
In other words,
So what?
yeah. For each, yeah. I mean, I don't really need to explain the other words really.
No.
If you've got for each Black Orc Black Orc mob,
Bob.
your army includes. It may include one Black Orc war boss or big boss.
Yeah.
And for each Black Orc war boss or big boss, your army may include one
Must
Black
include.
Orc mob.
Must, yes. They're
Must,
must.
not may.
Must.
So you can't have one without the other, basically.
Yeah.
Although it doesn't specify they need to be in the same unit.
No,
So
they
you
don't have to
can
be
split
together. Yeah.
No, that's true. Fear of elves. Elves of any type cause fear in this model with this special.
So
That's just regular goblins that have that, isn't it? Or do night
Night
goblins have it as well?
goblins used to have it,
They have
yeah,
it.
because Goblin at Paunch invades all fun, which is like a big deal. That's where that came from.
They're immune to strike. Someone can squid properly.
I think that the big thing with this is that this used to actually be a really rough rule for goblins because they don't have the best leadership, and if they fell out of leadership range, they had the numbers, but they would probably fail the fear check and struggle to hit as much.
But fear's not as...
or in earlier editions than that, if they were outnumbered, they'd always break.
Yeah.
The big problem here is that you're almost always going to have bigger units of goblins in terms of unit strength than you are in elves, so they're almost never going to take these fear checks now. Feels like a
And even
like
if
not
they
a big
do,
deal.
if you like come up against a big unit of elves, you've got the warband rule, so you add your rank bonus to
your leadership.
Yeah,
so it's not going to be terrible.
8 or 9 most of the time.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, it's not great. So this is not a big pain for you anymore.
Yeah.
Definitely feels like weirdly fear got a lot of stick in the last set of rules for not being powerful enough. It feels even less powerful to me now.
Terror's good still.
Yeah.
Terror
think
is good because you get the double up of your if you're in base contact with a terror causing unit, you are -1.
Yeah.
Terror's
Break
ace,
tests.
but they don't.
Yeah.
They
Really
don't
nice
terror
stuff.
elves. So
they're not
fear
terrified of elves.
Yeah.
They just fear them.
Ignore Goblin Panic up next. So the
this does.
units, this unit does not have to make a panic test when a friendly Goblin unit is destroyed or breaks and flees from combat within 6 inches of it. Nor does this unit have to make a panic test when it is fled through by a Goblin unit. But note that for the purposes of this rule, a Goblin unit is considered to be any unit that is made up entirely of Goblins of any kind, mounted or otherwise. This includes any war machine or chariot that is crewed entirely by Goblins. Should a Goblin unit be joined by an Orc character, it is no longer be considered to be a Goblin unit.
So just so I'm here, if I've got a Goblin Wizard on an Ragnarok, because the Ragnarok's a mount,
Yeah.
does that mean I ignore the panic for the
Mount,
giant spider running
mounted
through
or
me?
otherwise, as long as
I would say
all
yes.
of the crew is Goblins, so yeah.
However, squig hurts.
Oh yeah, yes.
They're not mounted on
Squig
squigs.
hurts cause panic, I guess.
Yeah.
Then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Although,
Good
to be
stuff.
fair, they don't flee, do they? They explode.
No,
they still explode?
I think they still explode.
Oh, okay, so probably
Absolutely laughing.
And they not fall back in good order then? They're unbreakable. We'll have a look.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Ignore panic.
I wonder what this does.
This unit does not have to make a panic test when a friendly unit that does not also have this special rule is destroyed or breaks or flees from combat whilst within 6 inches. Nor does this unit have to make a panic test when it is fled through by a friendly unit that does not have this special rule.
I'm pretty sure it's just Black Orcs that have this.
So hang on though, but if I don't ignore panic, if other ignores panic units flee through me?
Yeah, basically, so if Black Orcs flee through Black Orcs, they will have to take a panic check.
That's very odd.
Well, not really, because Black Orcs know how hardy Black Orcs are. So if there's something
Yeah, I
making
think
Black
it
Orcs
makes
flee,
sense.
that's going to scare the Black Orcs.
I just don't know if I'd have called it ignores panic.
Wow.
I feel like it's like an odd.
Well, so the Black Orcs have ignore panic?
I'm pretty sure it's just Black Orcs and like Black Orc characters that have it, yeah. I'm fairly sure. Based
so
on the
Black
description.
Orcs fleeing through Black Orcs wouldn't cause it?
Yeah, they would.
Yes,
Because
because
they've both got the special rule.
Unit that
Yeah.
does not have
does
to
not
make.
also have this special
Yeah.
rule. You
But
don't
you
have
have
to take the
You
test
don't take the test.
Oh,
if
gotcha.
a unit that doesn't have the rule flees
Yeah,
through.
that's fine, that's fine. Quell impetuosity. Impetuosity?
Impetuosity.
Yeah, I mean, animosity, man. Whilst within 6 inches of this unit with the special rule, friendly units may choose to ignore the impetuous special rule.
It's absolutely humongous. Impetuous is. It's an awful rule.
Yeah, it's bad on quick units, cavalry. Infantry,
Yeah, but who's
It's just a bad rule. Anything that. The thing I find interesting is that, like, I know there's a lot of people that have said, oh, well, it's good that animosity's gone, because that was a real feel bad when I rolled a 1 and then, like, couldn't do anything that turn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you know what's an even more feel bad? When 50% of the time I roll something and can't do what
Yeah,
I want to
the
do.
thing is, though,
yeah.
That makes me feel worse.
But it's not like animosity was back in 8th, where you had to have a bully in there to quell animosity and beat people up. This one is just if you could have 10 units within 6 of someone with quell animosity. If you're in
Impetuosity.
6, you don't have to take the test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's actually not really that big a deal. 'cause
No,
you're
no.
probably going to have
I'm not saying this rule is great. This
Yeah,
means
yeah.
I'm always going to include a unit of Black Hawks in my army.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is the impetuous rule
Oh yeah,
is in my mind a dreadful rule.
There's issues.
That's fair, and I think what it means, which we'll get onto
Big
later,
ones.
I'm sure. What it means is you see armies of Black Orcs and Night Goblins, because neither of which have Impetuous.
The Night Goblin's not.
Nope.
Oh,
No.
so that's good.
So all you see is Black Orcs and Night Goblins.
The thing is, the other Goblin stuff doesn't care if it's within 6 of the Black Orcs, and I'll tell you what I have seen a bit of, which is a bit disappointing because it doesn't feel very fluffy at all, but this is what happens when you write rules that have aura effects like this. I've seen quite a few people putting pictures up of their 20 Black Orcs
Just
in a line
Yeah.
that runs behind their deployment zone with all their stuff in front of it that's got animosity, that's got impetuous. And then it's all quelled for its impetuousness
all
because
within
it's within 6 of
Yeah.
it. Which is a shame because it means my Black Orcs have been turned into like a buff piece at the back rather than a kind of proper fighting machine, which is what I want them for. But you're always going to see things like that.
But then they are in that top tier of formations, Linehammer.
They are.
So
if
if
anyone
something
gets
does
through,
get through,
yeah, they are going to get smashed by that unit of 20
Let's
Black
be-
Orcs.
Let's be clear though, mate. If they've got through that, they've killed your entire army.
Well, no, they might not have.
you
They've
might
only got-
just
mate,
give
they've
like
only
one
got to
thing
get
on the
through
end.
down here, and the dude over here
Yeah.
is in, mate. He's in. But I do think that this rule, like anyone who is not quelling it, is doing it because they're having fun and they're trying to play thematically. They're not doing it to try and win a game because being impetuous is a rubbish rule. It's very poor for your figures.
It's too. The problem with it is it's too animosity. Yeah, it was only a 1.
Yeah.
You couldn't do anything. Whereas if you like, this is
Sometimes you
too-
turn
I
around
think-
and charge.
I think it's a little bit much. 50% of the time feels a bit harsh.
The thing is, for me,
It's not like it's like a frenzy check because you could BSB those back in the day, but
and it's generally better than 50% like a leadership test.
generally you're
yeah.
like a 7, 8 or a 9 kind of thing.
But
I
it doesn't
do
matter
think-
for these guys because they can quell it.
Yeah, but I do think with Impetuous, particularly on infantry, it's only going to matter if they're within movement +6.
I think my
They're
I
There's
think,
barely
10
any Swiss
inches.
stride infantry.
but I think my big gripe
Or
with,
Chariots.
with Impetuous is there doesn't feel like there's a single thing that's good about it.
We're getting too hung up
No.
on this USR. Let's
No.
get
Like, do you know what I mean? Whereas
Yeah,
like
that's
in the past where I'd have stuff like Frenzy that might make me charge for failed leadership
At
checks,
least
say,
you've got an extra attack.
at least I got an extra attack,
Yeah.
at least I was immune psychology. Do you know what I mean? There was stuff that was I can still panic and run off with this.
Yeah.
Sorry. But yeah, this is a great rule. Quell Impetuous.
Quell
you-
Impetuous
you-
T is good.
you would do it all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Tusker Charge. During a turn in which it charged, a Warboar's tusks, hand weapons, have a strength characteristic of strength +1 and an armor piercing characteristic of -1.
Good,
Note
because
that
the
this
boars
special
are heavy
rule only
cavalry.
applies to attacks made by a Warboar, not the rider or chariot or crew.
But this is good because
It's the chariot, not the chariot itself. With the wooden frame
Doesn't get
get
stronger.
+1 strength and AP.
But I've strapped so many tusks to it. Bit of war, boys.
Yeah, the war. Once per game during the command sub-phase of their turn, this character may attempt to invoke the power of the war by making a leadership test using their leadership. If this test is passed, until you start your next turn sub-phase, this character, their mount, and any Orc unit they have joined may re-roll to hit natural hit rolls of a 1, and calculating its combat result may claim an additional bonus of +1 combat result point. Note, for the purposes of this rule, an Orc unit is considered to be any unit that is made up entirely of Orcs or Black Orcs, mounted or otherwise. Should an Orc be joined by a Goblin character, it is no longer considered an Orc unit. This special rule is not cumulative.
That's a shame that they didn't just say it only affects Orcs. So, like, if you've got a Goblin in a unit, the unit doesn't lose it. The Orc still
No,
get
I
it. The
don't
Goblin
mind
doesn't
that.
get it. But
I
I mean,
don't- thematically,
it's not a hill I want to
Yeah.
die on. I don't.
No,
care
I
enough,
actually quite
but
like that the Goblin stops you warring.
This is a bit
I
like
also
one-
don't even think that the war's that good.
Oh, I disagree.
It's better than it was.
+1 combat res, yeah, that's decent, but the
Reroll
reroll
hits of
natural
one.
hit rolls of a 1, yeah, but
Nothing
that's
gets
just-
rerolls.
with choppers.
Rerolls wounds.
Wounds.
It's
So
choppers
you,
wounds.
yeah, you
Yeah.
charge with the choppers, you reroll
yeah.
with hits.
Sorry, I
average for
thought
one.
choppers
It's
were hits.
Really
I
sick.
thought choppers were hits. That
It's
is
really good in
Very
that
good.
combination. Yeah, it's definitely better than it was. I don't have a big problem with this rule. The only thing I would say is there's a similar one in one of the high elf units to this. Is you take the leadership check and fail it. Can you attempt again? Because it says once per game during a command sub phase, You may call
to,
it war.
No, you may
So
attempt to
if
invoke
you
the
fail
power
the
of the
check,
war.
you've lost your war.
Yeah, because it says
And you can't
if,
use it again.
if the test is passed,
Oh, I see what you mean.
and
Can
you may attempt
do
to
it, like,
invoke
next
the
turn?
power of the war, I'd
Yeah.
suggest no.
I'd suggest no as
You said
well.
one and done.
Which I think is a shame.
Because once per game you attempt it.
Yeah,
Um,
because you can't re-roll
Maybe not
that
so much
anymore.
with the Orc, I don't know if it's really factored into his points cost, but the example I'm thinking of with the Elves is definitely factored into the model's points cost, and you think, I've got one shot at it, and if I fail it, I'm going to be really gutted that I've, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, certainly, that's the only thing I think is a touch of a shame, is that I can't attempt it again. I think once, it may only be successfully done once, you know. But I mean, it's 6
Don't
after
hate
the other. It's not a big enough thing to die.
I
on.
mean,
You're gonna have a feel bad when you don't make it.
Yeah,
You're
but
calling it on a character, which is going to be like leadership 8 or 9. So the odds are you are.
But you
gonna
can't
pass
re-roll it.
No.
Well, no, you can't. But there's
So,
lots of stuff in
unless
the
they
game
have
you can't
veteran.
re-roll anymore.
No, I know that. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it like that.
If the
but
unit's got veteran, then
You've
you
also
can
got
re-roll it.
multiple, potentially multiple characters with access to WoW. Because it's not just your general. So it
Oh,
could
is
be
it
any
not?
character that
Yeah,
has
the
WoW.
special
special
rule isn't
rule.
cumulative, but you can try and
I suppose
WoW
by
as
saying
many
it's not
times as
cumulative, you
like.
could have several wars in
Because
one
it
turn.
says
Yeah.
this
that's fair.
character, so you can
Yeah, no.
just,
To be fair, I was thinking
You
it
have
was
two or
only your
three.
general,
Yeah,
but
no,
actually
no,
it's
no.
not. So
Because
yeah,
it used to be only your general.
Yeah,
before.
so that's
yeah,
fair.
odds on you'll get through it.
Yeah.
Warpaint.
Yeah, the final one, Warpaint. Warpaint gives its wearer a 6+ ward save against any wound suffered. However, a model with this special rule can never wear armour of any sorts, though they may carry a shield.
So they
So
can
in
wear
very
armour
real
of some
sense,
sort.
They can wear something.
With the facetious, but
Make it make sense.
it makes you a savage orc, basically. Old school
Yeah.
savage orc.
Yeah.
With the combination that you can also give them frenzy, basically makes you a savage orc.
Basically, old school savage orcs.
Yeah.
As well.
But I don't have a 5+ save.
No, just
No,
6.
it's
I like
just
shocking.
six.
Right, let's go. So.
Gone but not forgotten.
Gone, but definitely not forgotten. Terror of the tabletop it
Yes.
was.
You have a level 1 orc shaman in that unit of savage orcs.
Oh,
I wonder what
oh, he's carrying.
Classic.
Joke's on you, Magic was free.
It's not terrible.
On to the characters then. And we'll start off with the Black Orc bosses.
Fierce.
So, yeah, these really are fierce, and these are your choppiest of choppy boys, I would suggest.
I'm really sorry. Where on earth is a Black Orc Warboss getting initiative 6 from? That's absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, Black Orc Warboss, initiative 6. He's web skill 7, blitz skill 3, strength and toughness 5, 3 wounds, initiative 6 with 4 attacks, leadership 9.
He's as fast as an Elf Lord. I know the
Well, I
Elf
mean, he
Lords get
doesn't, 'cause he
strike
has strikes
first.
first.
But I mean, ultimately,
He's got
the
better
same
weapon skills
base
than a
initiative.
Tinky, mate.
Yeah, I mean, they've always been like
He's
good
only
weapon skill and
fighting,
good
yeah.
attacks, really fighty. It's just the initiative I can't get over. I have
He's
no
very
idea where
fast,
they
yeah.
get initiative 6 from.
He's
on
very
him.
fast.
He's faster than a Bretonian Duke.
He is.
He's faster than a Duke. I think he
He
might
is.
even be faster than a
He's
Vampire.
only 135 points.
Yeah, he's
wild.
not that expensive
He's
either.
really cheap.
Why so cheap as well?
Comes with full plate armour, so it comes with that 4-up save. Really good. Can take a shield, so get down to a 3-up.
He's cheaper than everyone else's lords as well. He's sick, isn't he?
He's got Furious Charge, so actually he's got 5 attacks on the charge.
Phew.
He's got Choppers, he's got Y, he's got Rallying Cry, which is really good.
Yeah,
Where's he getting that from?
Impetuosity, yeah, because he's a Black Orc.
Ignore Panic, the boys.
Yeah. And the big boss drops 1 weapon skill, 1 strength, a wound, an initiative, and an attack, and a leadership. But he's just 75
Quite a drop, but
points.
for 60 points
Yeah.
reduction, like...
Yeah, 75 points.
Still got the toughness.
Pennies,
Still got
but
the
he
toughness
is.
5. weapon
Still got the
skill
full plate
6.
armour. Still got 3 attacks, 4 on the charge at initiative 5.
Yeah, he's great.
You can give him additional hammer
She's
weapons,
5. Where's he getting that
great
from?
weapons, or cavalry spears if they're mounted. We'll get on to what they can be mounted on a bit later. And then 100 or 50 points of magic items, depending on which flavour, the war boss or the big boss.
Really, really good.
Yes, and they're heavy infantry and they're on 30mm bases.
Really.
You can still take a really good magic weapon on the Black Orc Big Boss, and it
Yeah.
still be a really strong, like, beastie
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, 100%. He's a machine. And to be honest, a lot of the time, you could even just go with a sort
You
of
could also make
a
that
spear
Black
on a
Orc.
boar.
Again, Black
Yeah.
Orc Big Boss, 25 points, he's your BSB.
Yeah.
He's going to be using Nails BSB, one of the toughest
Yeah.
BSBs out there, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is tough to get through. Although
You give him a shield, he's got a 3-up. Like, it's not even like you've got to go large
I
and
think
like...
boars still give you +1 armour save as well for
Yeah.
being mounted on them.
Armoured
So
hide.
2-up on a boar.
You've
Yeah.
got Armoured Hide, and he's
So
got
I'm
2-up.
vulnerable.
Yeah, he's laughing at that point.
tough, isn't he?
Really
Yes.
strong. Really strong.
So yeah, big fans of them. Don't really see why I wouldn't have any unless you've not painted your Black Orcs, man.
Unless you've not got Black Orcs yet.
But I actually think you need to. I think you want Black Orcs. I think they're a bit of an auto include.
You want a unit, I think. Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one.
9 as well.
Yeah.
So good.
I think there's not much.
Really
There's
good.
not for me. There's not a screaming amount of infantry in the game that you look at and go, yeah, they're 1+. You want them in every army.
Yeah.
No, there ain't
Really.
with the Black Orcs.
Not screaming amount.
Yeah,
Yeah, honest. There's a lot that you look at and go, yeah, not bad, but you know, I could leave them.
Yeah.
Like whereas Black Orcs, I'm like, no, you
I
probably
want Black
want a
Orcs.
unit
Yeah.
in every army.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
If I could mount Black Orcs on boars, I'd want them.
I was just about to say,
Can you imagine?
them. I mean, I'd want more than them. I'd want many,
Them all.
like Pokemon.
Other monster collecting games are available.
Yeah, maybe Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that one?
Did you release those to us, Nintendo?
Yeah, Nintendo pretty hard now. We're really sorry. We're fan of your work. Not trying to trade off your property. All bosses.
Yeah, the regular Orc bosses. So the war boss,
Not terrible.
no, he's not terrible. He starts web skill 6, bliss skill 2.
Oh, it's a huge jump from the Black Orc.
No,
PS3.
get useless. Get him out of it.
Still strength toughness 5, initiative 5, so it does drop an initiative. Keeps the same level of attacks, but drops to leadership 8 over the Black Orc war boss.
I'm sorry.
It is, but the Orc bosses are warband, so if they're in a
so-
warband unit, they're basically going to
So
leadership 10.
leadership 10 then.
Yeah.
But I do think 25 points difference for a point of weapon skill, point of ballistic skill, huge, point of initiative, and a point of base leadership is
And 2 points of armour.
because I come
These
with
guys
full
only
plate.
come with light armour.
Yeah, and they can't take full plate either.
Yeah, the armour one's a big drop.
No, they can't. They also don't come with Quell Impetuosity or Ignore Panic, which we didn't talk about with the Black Orc bosses,
No.
I don't think. They do have Furious Charge as well, so that is the same. They do ignore Goblin Panic, because all
They've still got
orcs
choppers and a war.
Still got choppers, still got Rallying Cry,
maybe.
still got
The
War and the
warband
Warband.
is very good.
The Warband is very good for their reroll charges.
But they are impetuous.
They are. They are.
For me, good still feels very points efficient for the stat line. And again, the
But
boss.
I think if you're gonna, you're taking an Orc boss really because you look at it and go, they can have heavy armor and a shield, so they can have a 4-up, or you make them a savage Orc. They get frenzied and war paint. So if you're gonna have a
Which
frenzy
isn't
and
that
war
great, no.
paint, I think if you're gonna take those, you just chuck a Black Orc big boss in there and it's Quell Impetuous.
Yeah, for me, again the big boss drops down to weapon skill 5, toughness strength 4, basically the same breakdown as the Black Orc one did in terms of dropping one
what
of
he
the
drops.
initiative, one of the attacks.
He's
one
only
of the leadership.
55 points though, which is very cheap.
These I'd have the 55 point ones potentially, because I'm probably not going to have enough Black Orc units to have loads of Black Orc characters.
Yeah.
But the war boss, I just
He's
don't.
literally half the points of the War Boss.
I know, I just don't.
Yeah, I think that's
mad.
that's a bit
he's
too
really
too
points
ridiculous.
efficient.
Yeah. The War Boss, maybe not so
The
much.
War Boss does
you
just
can-
take a Black Orc
You
one.
can get
yeah.
past the leadership because of the warband.
Because of the warband.
They don't
So,
even
yeah.
get they don't even get any extra mounts either. It's not like you go, well, I can only put my Orc boss is the only thing that can go on a Wyvern or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't. They're literally
No,
the same.
he's literally
So,
just the. He's literally.
I'd stick with the Black Orcs for my War Boss and my
Yeah.
Lord, if you like, classic Lord, and then my heroes. I'd then look at my Orc bosses. My,
if you didn't have
my
enough
big
units of
bosses,
Black Orcs.
if I didn't have sufficient.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's just no reason.
Not really.
Orky Shamans.
Yeah, so you've got the weird knobs on the weird boys. So the weird knob is the sort of level 3 or 4, starts at level 3, and the weird boy is the level 1 and can upgrade him to level 2. They're not terrible stats. Web skill 4 for the weird knob, 3 for the weird boy, strength 4, toughness 5, or strength 3, toughness 4.
That feels like a big drop, that one.
Yeah.
On the Wizard.
On the Wizards, yeah.
The toughness drops.
The reduction in strength
further.
and toughness compared to all of the other ones, they're the only ones that do that.
They are less than half the points though.
Yeah, they are a level. I mean, to be honest, I can't really imagine you're going to take weird boys.
No.
I just think it's
I
points.
think
you're
the
gonna
problem
put
is you're going to
elsewhere,
take
you're
Goblin
gonna take a
Shamans
level 4.
because you need to
You
get
wanna unlock
you want to
Night
unlock
Goblins.
those Night Goblin
Yeah.
units, which are really strong. So
Yeah, spell laws, they can take battle magic, elementalism, or war magic,
Or they can swap for.
or they can then swap for law of Gork.
Gork. So the reason you take these guys is because you want something specifically from Gork for me.
Yeah.
Unless there's an old item that I'm not aware of that's a magic item for
Don't
some
think
Orc
so.
Shamans, but I don't think there is any.
There might be.
So I
They
think that's
do-
probably where it goes.
They do have the mob rule, special rule, which is just the Orc Shamans, that Goblins Shamans don't. So if this character has joined a unit of Orcs with a unit strength of 10 or more, they can apply a +1 modifier to any casting roll they make. Should they leave the unit or the unit strength fall below 10, the modifier is lost.
That is good.
Yes.
That is a good rule.
Yeah, I like mob roll.
And like the other special rule, which I can't remember which one it was, for the purposes of this rule, a unit of Orcs is considered to be any unit that is made up entirely of Orcs or Black Orcs, mounted or otherwise. You can make them frenzied for free, but only up to 1 per 1,000 points. And you can also, if you do make them frenzied, then buy them war paint for 5 points.
It's very cheap.
It is very cheap. For a cheap 6-up ward save.
Yeah.
And otherwise you can make them level 4 or level 2 respectively.
Yep.
They've still got choppers, still got ignore goblin panic, still war bands, and that's it really. Nothing too exciting.
Yeah.
They're a wizard, they're decent, they've got a place, particularly with that mob rule. But whether you'll take goblins for unlocking instead is the bigger question. Speaking of goblins,
moving on to the very cheap goblins.
Bosses, exceptionally
they've
cheap.
always been good value for money though.
They've always been excellent value.
Yeah, they have. Good weapon skill for the war boss, weapon skill 5, really solid for his bargain points cost of 60 points.
Yeah.
Strength and toughness 4,
Yeah.
and the big boss's strength and toughness 4 as well. That's really
the big
nice.
boss doesn't change in goblins, which is really
The
good.
big boss never used to my memory.
Initiative 4 attacks. Really solid.
I mean, that's wild.
Goblins always have been... Oh no, Night Goblins have been an extra initiative, but -1 leadership, historically, haven't they?
Yeah.
Just so we're clear, the Goblin War Boss has the same attacks as the Tomb King.
He has the same initiative as a Bretonian Duke. He's drunk from the
No! My Duke is 6, how dare you?
Doesn't make any
I think,
sense.
no, they're 5, mate. Pretty sure they're 5. Chuck me in the other book. You guys keep talking.
I think they're 6.
I'll look this up.
But yeah, I mean, these guys are good, points efficient characters. You can't really complain about. They fear elves, but that's not such a big deal anymore. We talked about that. They are impetuous. That is a pain, but you can fix it with
get around
with your Black Orcs that you're definitely taking.
Yeah.
They come with Rallying Cry, which is outrageous. 35-point Rallying Cry.
A Duke, a Baron, Duke and a Baron are both initiative 5.
Yeah!
Paladins are 4.
Yeah, so the Black Orc War Boss is going first.
Obviously.
Outrageous! And they're going at the same speed as the Goblin War Boss.
Although they're not, because I'm clearly charging, because I'm on a horse.
Okay, you...
Or a hippogriff.
Or
a Pegasus.
Pegasus, all good options
All good.
there.
Armour-wise, they don't come with any, but they can have shield and or light armour. You can give them additional hammer weapons, great weapons, or cavalry spears.
Crucial element is it opens them up for suits of armour from the main rulebook, which is great.
Can be mounted on a few things, which we'll get onto, and then obviously normal magic item allowances of 100 or 50 points.
Yeah, I mean, they're good little points efficient guys. The 35-point Goblin Big Bosses Rallying Cry are really, really good.
It is worth just quickly going back. The Orc Bosses and the Orc Shamans, as well as the Goblins, are regular infantry, but the Black Orcs are heavy infantry.
So you need less to make ranks.
Yeah.
Right.
Goblin Shamans. So these are your regular goblins, not your night goblin ones. Okay. So they can only take elementalism or war magic. They can't take battle magic. So that is, if you want battle magic, you're gonna have to go for an Orc Shaman.
I don't hate battle magic. I think battle magic's really solid. I don't. But it's not necessarily the best for orcs and goblins. I don't think. Not that it's bad particularly, but you know, like when you look and think, is there a ton of really great internal synergy? There's probably not as much internal synergy with battle magic as there is with war magic.
Yeah, fair. So the odd knob is the level 3, the odd git is the level 1. You can upgrade them to level 4 and 2 respectively. They can no spells like I said from elementalism or war magic. No sort of really standout stats, pretty standard compared to their combat
7
stats.
On the Goblin Shaman,
Very
Great
good,
Shaman, the odd knob,
with Warband.
Yeah,
with
really
Warband,
good.
he's really dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is solid. These guys can get Law and Mork, so again, you're looking at whether
Different
you want your
signature
Gork or
spells.
your Mork.
Yeah, no real options. They can be mounted. Obviously, as I said, you can upgrade the wizard level and then magic items. 50 or
Nothing
100
exciting.
points.
Not too expensive.
No, not that bad. 135 and 60 points respectively. On to the Night Goblin bosses.
On to my hooded boys.
Yes. These
my
are
favourite.
even cheaper than the Goblin variants.
They should be,
they are 5
because
points
the
cheaper.
advantage they had before has been taken away because they're the same initiative now.
They are the exact same stat line except they've lost the leadership.
Leadership, yeah, which is they always were low leadership, but I
But
think
they used to be higher
great
initiative.
initiative. Yeah.
Again, the introduction of Warband is just
Yeah.
they're basically just giving the entire army like Verminous Valor. Strength in numbers, sorry.
They hate dwarves.
They do hate dwarves.
Which is nice because there ain't a lot of rerolls out there
Racist.
anymore. I was very close to saying. Sorry.
But to be fair, the dwarves hate them back. So
They do. It's
mutual hate.
It's mutual hate.
There's a very
Yeah.
funny comedy in the UK from a few years ago, and there's a line in there that
Yeah,
is
I know the line you're talking about. The American
which
remake of said comedy was
terrible.
garbage.
But yeah, that was very funny. The dwarves had it coming. I'll say it.
Alright.
They don't wear any armour, but you can buy them light armour and or a shield. They can only be mounted on a giant cave squig. That's their only
Not a bad
option.
choice.
I've got
though.
one of
No,
those
not a bad
in a
choice.
box that I've not.
Yeah, not a
The
bad choice
chieftain
at all.
bought me about 2 years ago, and it's still in the box. At some point, I'm going to get it out and paint that bad boy. Great
Weapon
model.
wise, same options as everyone else. Additional hammer and great weapon or cavalry spear if they're mounted. And then magic items. Fear of elves, like we said, they hate dwarves. Rallying cry, steel, and warband.
Keeping the rallying quite strong, but
Yeah,
less
that's
useful when you've got to pass it on leadership 5 or 6.
Yes.
Because I don't think you can add
No, it's your
warband to
leadership.
that, 'cause it's normally unmodified, isn't it, for those? I think.
I don't know if it says unmodified. It says your leadership,
Oh, okay, so maybe you can.
your own, but I don't think it says unmodified.
Right.
And then the shamans, the last of the characters, the night goblin shamans. So you've got night goblin, odd mobs, and odd gits. These I think are the same points as the goblin ones. No, they drop 5 points as well because they drop a leadership. So these guys can take illusion or war rather
Not
than
elementalism.
elementalism.
I think illusion's better, personally, as well. Which
And I
is-
think you're going to want these to unlock your night goblin units anyway.
Yeah,
So,
I think illusion's got some really great spells in it.
Yeah, still got the hatred dwarves, still fear of elves, law of Mork like the other goblins, and warband. No mount options for these guys. No real options other than upgrading the wizard level and magic items.
So, the Law of Illusion is really worth considering on these guys. If they get spell 6, they can prevent an enemy from charging with that.
Miasmic Mirage?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
so
huge when
Yeah.
you consider the amount of bonuses that my orcs get for charging. And we know it's harder for infantry to make charges because they have the shorter range.
Yeah.
So actually being able to sort of hit and like push yourself up into a position where you could get charged quite hard, but having already pinned that unit down, it's very hard for them. They lose 2 points of movement and can't charge or march. So they ain't getting away from you.
Yeah.
And then you can hit them with your orc units, getting your chopper rule, getting your getting all the good stuff going, and that's probably the turn you call the war. I think that's a really powerful combo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fan of those, like them, and they unlock my units, which is great.
Yeah.
So I'd definitely include some of those.
Yeah, for sure. So that's it for characters. We do have a few mounts. So, orcs or black orc war bosses or big bosses may be mounted on war boars or boar chariots. The Wyvern is only for the war boss variant, so orc war bosses and black orc war bosses. The orc shamans, the weird knobs and the weird boys, they can both go on a war boy, and the weird knob can go on a Wyvern.
Shame they can't go on a chariot. Not sure why they didn't get that.
Yeah, that is a bit of a shame.
Because the others can. Most armies can put wizards on
Yeah,
chariots.
it's
as well.
given 360 line of sight for their spells as well. on the
Yeah,
chariot.
so you just have to stick with the boar for that, I suppose.
Yeah, bit of a shame. Goblin war bosses or big bosses can be mounted on giant wolves, gigantic spiders, or a wolf chariot. And the wizards, the goblin wizards, can be on giant wolves, wolf chariots, or an arachnarok spider for the goblin odd knobs. So they got the chariot.
Yeah,
the
so I
goblins
mean.
got the chariots.
Yeah,
And then, as you said, the night goblin war boss or big boss can go on a giant cave squig.
which I think was basically his mount before. I don't think he could go
I
on
don't think you
anything,
can go on anything else.
anything
No.
other than that before.
No.
So nothing. Or could he go on a bouncy before? That is the cave
That
squig,
is
isn't
the
it?
cave squig,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right then. Yeah.
So
Space
war boar.
opera.
It's literally the space opera.
Yeah, so the warboard does have armoured hide, so he does add to that armour
That's
save,
nice.
which is very nice. He's got the Tusker charge, which we went through, Swift Stride, and Counter charge. which
Yeah,
is
he's
very
spicy.
nice.
16 points there.
Yeah, Strength 3 basic, but obviously Strength 4 on the charge with that Tusker charge. One attack, Initiative 3, not bad.
Movement
quite cheap.
7 makes really nice as well.
Yeah,
That
on the
is
slow end for
That
cavalry,
is slow for cav, though.
but
yeah.
it does have Swift Stride, which is nice.
Does have counter charge, which I think is huge.
Yes. Yeah.
And armoured hide as well.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good.
So the Giant Wolf, so this is for the Goblin war bosses or big bosses, odd knobs or odd gits. 10 points, so even cheaper. He's massive movement 9. They've always been quick, haven't they?
quick, yeah.
Strength 3, didn't they used to be Strength 4?
No, they're 3.
Were they?
Yeah.
He's got Chariot Runners, which is not bad, it can come in handy. Fast Cavalry, which is nice, Fire and Flee and Swift Stride.
I think the crucial element there is that he's going to join up potentially with Wolf Rider units that
Yes.
also have Chariot Runners.
Yes.
And so it means he's not preventing that
Yeah,
where you
absolutely.
can charge through your own guys, which is great.
Yes.
Fire and Flee is wicked as well.
It is, yeah.
Because that'll be really kind of versatile for the rider.
Again, it won't come into effect if the character's on his own because he doesn't have a missile weapon, but it will come into effect if he's in a unit of Wolf Riders who have bows.
Yeah, that is a very good point. I didn't think they could actually
But
purchase bow.
I think it's because the whole unit has to have Fire and Flee in order for you to Fire and Flee.
Still good.
Yeah.
Moving on with the mounts.
Yeah, Gigantic Spider. So this guy is 35 points, but he gives you an extra wound and
Very nice.
3 Strength 4, Weapon Skill 4 attacks, which is very nice. And Armoured Hide, which is very nice. Poison attacks on the Spider, Fast Cav and Swift Stride. Not bad. Light Cavalry on 50 by 50 more base.
The giant spiders are decent.
Yeah,
Still not movement 8.
You had to say it, didn't you?
I did.
You had to
Someone
say
has to say it.
Someone has got to say it. Someone has.
But we're not going to dwell on it, and we're going to move straight on to the giant cave squid.
War crime.
So, this guy's 10 points cheaper than that Gigantic Spider. He still gives you an extra wound. He's got 3 Strength 5 attacks.
Really nice.
Weapon Skill 4. His movement 3d6, so he's random mover. He's Monstrous Cavalry on a 50 by 50. Still got Armoured Hide. He hates dwarves as well. He's got D3 impact hits, Loner, and random movement, as we said. So, and he's also got his Massive Gob, which is his combat attack, basically, which is strength as usual, so strength 5, yeah, -1 AP, armor bane 1, and killing blow.
Yeah,
He
nice,
is
mate.
disgusting for
For
25 points.
25
I'd have 2 of those in every army
Because
this
of the
day.
3d6 movement as well, it's
Yeah.
like you can't react to his charge.
No,
Very,
So, really good.
very
Really good.
spicy.
yeah,
Ups my armor 2, which is outrageous.
yeah.
Hates
Gives you an
dwarves,
extra wound.
Banner.
Cheeky.
Impact hits, strength 5's nice. But yeah, crucially there, the arm,
Squeaks in general
the
are good,
killing
mate.
blow armor, mate.
Yeah.
He's a character masher.
Yeah.
He could just jump up and bite the head off a doom ball.
Technically, yeah.
That's hilarious.
I like to think that somewhere Jack Cropper's having a nightmare about that.
That is it for the mounts in that section. We'll get on to a few of their other
the
mounts. at the
specific
end.
mounts that don't
Yeah.
have actual entries, yeah.
On to the infantry then.
Yeah, let's start with some Black Hawks.
Mhm.
These boys are going to always be in because we talked earlier about their special rules being the reason. Movement 4, that's going to be uniform for all the infantry,
Yeah.
by the way. Weapon skill 4, decent. Strength and toughness 4, also decent. Leadership 8 now, very good.
Really good,
Initiative 3, apparently half the speed of a Black Hawk Warboss. When you Black Hawk Warboss, you really level up your speed. That's how you get to be a Warboss.
Great
guys.
cardio. That's what you're doing.
Just reaction training. Just people throwing paper airplanes at you whilst you've got a blindfold on. That's how it happens. 12 points. 5+. These guys come with full plate armour. So decent. As decent as infantry are going to be.
Yeah.
Very flexible though, which is what I like about these. They can have a shield for a point, an add hand weapon for a point, or they can have a great weapon for 2. But what really makes these is the fact that they are motley crew.
Yes.
So I can have a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I can mix it up.
Which is a really confusing rule.
Yes.
Very
But when I'm in a big long
unnecessary,
line,
Yeah.
it's really sick. I've got to be honest, it's really sick in a big long line because I've just got a counter for everything that might charge me.
Yeah.
So I've got, say, like 20 of them, 21, and I've got 7 with great weapons, 7 with shields, and 7 with 2
Really
weapons.
nice, yeah.
It's pretty spicy.
Yeah.
So we quite like that. Close order, they're the boys which we know about is the have to take character. Furious charge, spicy,
Really
extra
nice.
attack when I make that charge, so that illusion magic coming in hot.
Yeah.
They ignore panic as we talked about earlier, but of course the bit
The
that
big
we're
one.
really spicy about.
The Quell Impetuosity.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
really good. All the usual refinements really then, that most infantry have got really the same upgrades in this game.
Yeah.
You've got full command available at 6 points of command option. Magic standard up to 50, which is pretty common now.
Yeah.
Boss can take a 25-point magic item, also pretty common now. And then 0 to 1 unit in your army can have one of the following special rules, which is
Good at both.
yeah,
That says they can't.
Yeah.
stubborn or veteran.
I think you definitely go veteran.
So they're veteran. For a point
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd call them stubborn.
Probably wouldn't bother, but I would.
I probably would with veteran.
Actually, I definitely wouldn't if I was going to put the character in there, because if the character doesn't have stubborn, the unit can't use it. So I would say veteran is 1+ though.
Is it actually thinking about it?
Well, I think so.
Yeah.
It's a point.
Yeah, I know, but what are you actually going to use it for?
Well, it's those times. It is that one time that I fail an important test, isn't it?
Yeah, but what test do they take? They ignore panic from everything that's not a Black Orc.
Monsters die. Oh, it's anything that's not a Black Orc though, isn't it? Yeah, fair.
Which if they flee from combat.
If that, yeah,
Like the
break
rally,
tests.
yeah.
Break
No,
rallies.
You can't reroll
Can't
break
use it
test.
for break.
with
You
veteran.
can
But
rally.
you
You
can
can
use it
reroll
for
the
rally.
rally test.
And it's
The
a lot.
rally test.
It's a lot of points as well in that unit. If you
Yeah,
if you've got like
potentially.
a big block of like 20 or 30,
Mm.
and they break from like a silly flank charge, and you've only
Yeah.
lost like 6 guys, all of a sudden it's gonna really hurt.
Yeah.
Like, I had it where I played a game when we was at the event,
Yeah.
and
Square base GT2.
yeah, it was very good. I played Val, and I hit his big block of Black Orcs in the flank with my dragon. He challenged with his character. I killed his dragon for like the overkill.
Killed
like,
the character.
so, yeah, sorry, for like the overkill. So I'm like, I basically was like a flank charge.
Yeah.
And then like the overkill, and because I caused terror, it meant well, I beat him by like 1 or whatever, and then because I caused terror, he
Yeah.
fled.
Yeah, fair
Now
enough.
obviously I hadn't killed a single Black Orc.
Yeah.
I'd only killed the character. So
Yeah.
I mean, as it was, I did catch it.
Yeah.
But if I hadn't caught him, next turn he's got the chance to rally. He's got the rallying cry, or no, he's got the chance to rally, and then at that point the veteran is massively important because I hadn't killed a single Black Orc. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
true.
Yeah, maybe you're right, Scott. Maybe it is less useful than I'm thinking. But I don't know, for a pointer model, if I was taking like 20 or 30, I'd probably find
you'd
the
probably
20 or
find
30
the
points
point.
just to be
Yeah.
sure.
Fair.
You know, in case it comes in clutch once every like 3 games, I probably
Yeah.
feel like I've benefited.
No, that's fair.
One thing I would say is if you're taking a big enough unit, 50 or 60,
A very big unit.
you could, it would then...
Who's taking a 50-man unit? You're joking,
You kill it.
50-man unit.
You kill it.
Troll army.
Obviously, this isn't going to happen very often, but it's worth also considering there's a banner that makes you stubborn, which costs 50 points in the main rulebook. So
Yeah,
it might
fair.
be that if your unit became big enough,
You could sort.
and you wanted stubborn,
If you
get
had,
that.
if you had a
you could get it cheaper.
If you had over 50 models,
correct.
you could reduce that cost
That's right.
by about 3 points.
Yes. I'm just giving you all
It
the
would
facts.
also make the characters in that unit stubborn.
Yes.
That's
Which
helpful.
would actually be helpful, yeah.
Yeah.
So moving on, Orc mobs.
Yeah, really cheap at 5 points a model.
Yeah, very cheap. Although stats that are also now reflective of their cheapness.
Yeah, that's fair.
'Cause,
Weapon skill 3.
Weapon skill 3, strength 3, toughness 4 still, which is nice. 1 attack, leadership 6. They are warband, and the boss is leadership 7. So they can either take warbows, so they come with light armour. They can take warbows for free. They can take additional hand weapons, thrusting spears or throwing spears each for a point, and they can take shields for a point as well. All the normal command options. The boss is 7, the other 2 are 5. Odd. Can't take a magic banner. Yeah, they can. It's just further down. Super helpful.
Again,
0 to 1 unit per 1,000 can take a magic banner up to 50 points.
yeah,
And the boss, the champion, can take magic items up to 25 points.
very similar again.
Unit drift is ginormous.
0 to 1 unit in your army can have the big and special rule for 2 points a model. And 0 to 1 unit in your army can replace the close order special rule with skirmishers.
Yeah,
free.
for the meta game that is skirmishing Orc Bowman.
Yes. Yes. And 0 to
That's
1
when
unit...
the impetuous comes right in clutch and
Yeah.
messes you up because you've got 360 arc, baby.
0 to 1 unit per 1,000 points, like I said, can take a magic stand up to 50, and they can also replace their light armour with the frenzy special rule. And then if you're frenzied, you can take war paint for a point, and
War
you
point
can
for a
take
point.
big stabbers for 5 models per unit. Big stabbers. give
5
you-
models per unit.
Five
So
models.
you trade
Say models
5.
per
Yeah,
unit.
you did. You
5 points,
trade,
maybe.
trade 5 figures and put a big stabber in.
The big
Don't do
stabbers
that.
give you impact it's D3.
Which I think we're alright.
Yeah, and it does say this special rule applies to the unit as a whole, not individual models. You can't run them 10 wide and get 10 D3 impact hits.
For
But it
5,
does mean that I don't have to have that guy in base to get my impact
Yeah.
hits because
Yeah,
it's the
it's
whole
just
unit.
the
that
for
unit.
counts.
5
generally has
points,
I probably would.
D3, strength 3, no AP impact hits.
5
I mean,
points, yeah.
If I had the 5 points spare,
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
mean, you only spent 6 points to get the Orc that's carrying it.
yeah, but what I'm saying is,
There.
what I'm
So,
saying is if you've got the 5 points
so you
spare,
could trade 1 Orc for it, which I probably would.
yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Um,
probably. Because it's D3 automatically hitting orc attacks.
I think
Effectively.
this entry is kind of the classic. It was good before, so it's less good now. Like I think Orc
okay.
boys
Orc boys
are
weren't great.
alright.
They
They
weren't
weren't
great
great before.
before.
They're
Arrow boys
alright.
were alright,
But Savage Orcs were good.
Savage orcs were.
Savage
Orcs
Orcs were
were
very
good.
good, yeah.
And I think they are a lot less good now. I have to say.
Yeah.
Frenzy is not as good as it once was.
No.
up the quality of the war paint.
No.
I can be big uns, but I don't get the +1 strength in the first round anymore.
No, you just get +1 strength all the time.
What from?
What,
No, big
big
uns.
uns?
But choppers used to stack on top of big uns, so I'd be strength 5.
Oh right. So
But choppers is different now. So I don't think they're as punchy as they were.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there's an argument for regular orc boys though out there. They're cheap. They're functional. They'll hold stuff up. I just kind of feel weirdly like they won't kill enough for me to want to put them in. And I feel like goblins can also hold stuff up, particularly with general's leadership, inspiring presence, and warband. So
the orcs are warband as well, and they do start off at a better leadership. It's worth saying, and they obviously ignore goblin rank and have choppers.
Going to use my general, and I know.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. Maybe if I was going big uns on them, I'd think about orcs. I think savage orcs probably had their day. Regular orcs.
I think you only take them if you're making them big uns. To be honest,
Yeah,
I don't think I'd bother with either variant
No,
without big uns.
I agree. And yeah, I think the skirmisher thing is wild to me. Someone might be able to tell me why that's good. If you can quell their impetuosity, then
then they're
a bit more useful. But
Well,
otherwise,
like a little rogue.
they effectively lose their warband because they don't have any ranks.
I think they're good
no,
for
they
like
can be on the charges though.
they're good for a character screen.
Yeah,
Character
potentially.
screen.
I want to put like a character in for 360 arc on your wizard and.
No, as in like you have like a character on like a flying carpet, for example, and you surround them with like skirmish
Skirmish
guys.
Oh, okay.
Stop them being shot.
Stops them being shot, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
They're skirmish, so you can have them in a really long line. So
They're not
you know,
very
like,
quick though.
No, but it's more that I suppose if you've got like a big old chain and then there's a character right at the very top of that chain casting spells, you can't shoot that character because and you take the wounds from the far end of the chain.
Yeah.
So
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying
you can stop the character from being shot.
they're useless, but I think the impetuousness of them is humongous.
Does hurt.
For the
You need to have a way to control that.
Yeah,
for sure.
And if you lose that way, then you're going to it's going to
Yeah,
fold up
you're
quick.
gonna-
I don't
could
see
struggle.
the value in them. If I'm honest,
No.
blocks let you do the same thing. I can stand my wizard next to a block and still get the same
Yeah.
protection. So, moving on.
Yeah, regular goblins.
Regular goblanios.
Web skill 2, strength toughness 3, initiative 2, leadership 5, 3 points a model, nice and cheap, and they come with shields.
Very
That's
cheap.
Nice. Units of 10 plus, website and the orc mobs are 5 plus. You can take thrusting spears, or you can replace their shields with short bows, each for a point a model, and you can give them light armour for a point a model. I don't think I'd bother with the light armour.
No.
I'd bother probably with one of the weapon options. Depending on what I wanted, I'd either go bows or spears.
If I thrusting spears, I might go. Well, look. At 5 points with a thrusting spear and 5 up save. 5 up save is actually not that bad now because there's not tons of stuff that reduces your save like it used to. I might
It's
take
better
that.
than it used to be.
Yeah.
It's just more. It is one of those ones where you look at it now and it's definitely well worth taking, in my opinion.
It's certainly.
And they're so cheap.
They're
30
cheap.
points
They're
as
cheap
well.
enough that it don't
They
matter.
are very cheap, yeah. Command options, as everyone's got the boss, the champion is 7, the other 2 are 5. You can include up to 3 nasty skulkers for 10 points each.
More
We'll
on
get
these
them in a
come.
second. I wouldn't, but you could. And 0 to 1 unit per 1,000 can replace close order with skirmisher for free, and they can purchase magic standard up to 50 points. Very good.
Again, 50-point banners back for everyone.
Yeah.
There's
Close
just
order.
lots of those knocking around the old world.
Fear of elves. Horde, which is very nice and interacts with warband very nicely, which they also have, and they are of course impetuous.
Horde gives you
You can claim an extra
an
rank.
extra rank bonus, doesn't it? So,
So it doesn't just give you an extra one, you can claim an extra
You
one.
need the rank
You need
yourself,
the-
but
yeah.
you can claim
So,
it.
so these goblins will be able to claim up to 3
So,
if they're regular infantry.
your nasty skulkers, these guys can be bought as the upgrade.
Yes.
So 10 points each. I really love their models, by the way. And back
Yeah,
in
they
the
are
I
nice.
did once have a Loriel killed by a
Yeah,
nasty
you did.
skulker with a 3-up ward.
They wouldn't kill her anymore,
Um,
mostly because she's not in the game.
Yes, they exist.
But they are web skill 4, ballistic skill 3, strength 3, initiative 4 with 2 attacks. They come with light armour. They are armour bane 2. They fear elves. They have the horde special rule, which is nice. They have strikes first, and they have skulking.
they're a skulking menace. They are a skulking menace.
So they're not placed on the battlefield at the start of the game. Instead, you make a note of which goblin mobs include nasty skulkers and how many they include. These units are referred to as concealing units. At the start of its first round of combat, during step 1.1 of the choose combat and fight subphase, a concealing unit must reveal its nasty skulkers. They cannot be revealed at any other time. Position each revealed Nasty Skulker as you would a character that has joined the unit. Once placed, Nasty Skulkers cannot leave their concealing unit. If the concealing unit is destroyed or flees the battlefield before its Nasty Skulkers are revealed, they are removed as casualties. Lots of words.
They're 10 points. I don't really know what they do.
I don't really know
Armor
what
2
they do.
is solid. I mean, if they got strikes first, those strikes first -2 armor all the time, I think they'd be well worth
Or
taking.
strikes first, killing blow.
Yeah,
Which
or
is what
any,
they,
which
which
is
is
what
what
they
they
were
used that
back
before,
in the
and
day.
they probably should have
Anything
kept.
like that would have been good. I think this like Armor Bane 2. I mean, they've got 2 attacks, man.
Yeah.
They're strength
They're
3.
not gonna kill
like,
anything.
you might roll
No.
a 6. It might be a -2 to a save. Like if you're lucky. I mean, if you're lucky, you're going to do 1 wound.
They've got average
Yeah.
weapon skill. If you had 3 of them leap out of a unit, statistically you'll probably hit 3 times.
Mhm.
4 if you're fighting something that's really poor weapon skill, and then you're going to wound. You're looking at
Maybe.
one Armor Bane 2 hit top
Yeah.
whack, and that's every other time you do it. So if
Yeah.
you had 2 units, you spend 60 points to get an Armor Bane 2 hit, and then when your opponent smacks them in the head, they are
They
going to
just die.
die.
They've
They
got no
just
save. Well, they've got
The
light
light
armor.
armor.
Light armor, yeah.
They've got 6 up armor. They can take no magic. If they take magic items, you know, they'd probably be
Yeah.
pretty decent. Whack a little common magic weapon
Yeah.
on them, stuff like that. They'd probably be solid.
It does say as well, this position each revealed Nasty Skulker as you would a character that's joined the unit. So does that mean I can't have more of them in my front rank than I do rank and file troops?
Absolutely. If you're 5,
Because
if you're
if I was
5
to place
wide,
a character in that unit, I couldn't put
Yep.
3 of them in the front rank
that's
of a 5 wide
that's
unit.
exactly what it means.
No, you can't displace your command. For
No.
definite.
No.
No,
So,
so if you're
they're going to
5
end up
wide
sort of
with
out
one
to the
character-
sides, so there's a chance as well
That they
that
actually only get one attack.
only get 1 attack.
Well,
Yeah.
they can't. They'd have to go out to the side. But it's more crucially is if you're 5 wide with a character in that unit already, and you've got 2 nasty skulkers,
You put in one
you
in
can
the
only
front
place
rank.
one in the front rank. One can't even
Yeah.
go in the front rank.
Yeah, not the one.
No.
So,
So if
trash
you're
dog.
taking them, you need to take like wide units.
Yeah.
Really, 7, maybe 8.
But for 10 points, why would you bother?
I don't think you'd bother.
I
That's-
was
that's
Two
two
goblins.
It's another 2 goblins with a 5 up
It's
save,
3 if you don't bother upgrading
or
them.
3 with no upgrades.
3 if you take the Duke approach to goblins.
They're going to die either way. Just
Moving
make
on
them
to something
cheaper.
I do like
Yeah.
is the Snotling mobs.
Yeah.
Randomly is a swarm in the middle of all the infantry. Don't
Yeah.
ask me why.
Because Swarm is a type of infantry.
It's just there.
Swarm is a type of infantry.
I don't care.
You can kill and blow swarms.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So-
I'm not really sure how you cut the head of a swarm, but yeah.
I actually think these are quite strong. I actually think they're quite strong, and I
Okay.
think people are perhaps missing how good these have got the potential to be.
Okay.
So movement 5, decent when
Yeah.
everything else is 4. It's all the 2s then.
Yeah, a
Weapon
lot of
skill,
2s.
ballistic skill, strength, toughness, all the 2s. We're not fussed. We haven't purchased.
They
them
don't
for
kill
killing.
stuff.
6 wounds.
Yeah, very nice. Didn't they used to have 4?
4, yeah.
Yeah.
Initiative 3. 5 attacks a base.
Yeah.
So they're going to throw some dice.
Yeah.
Leadership 4.
Yeah.
I feel like there still is a spell that can give me poison attacks as well. I might be wrong.
There's a banner in.
Oh, is it a banner,
Orcs
not a spell
Goblins, I
now?
think, yeah.
I
There's
thought it was a spell.
It might be a
It's
spell.
in the Arcane Journal.
There's a spell that
what
can
I'm
give
thinking
you-
No, the spider banner is in the
Oh,
Arcane
is it?
Journal.
Right. So 35 points for these boys a base. You can get a
Oh,
unit
just a spell.
a 2 for 70 points because they start at 2.
Yep.
But what I like about these is the special rules. Immune Psych, excellent.
Yep.
Impetuous, poor, but we've talked about all the ways you quell it. Loner, whatever. Open order, skirmishers, unbreakable, vanguard. So for me, you play them open order.
Yeah.
And I think they have a lot of potential on a 40 by 40 to be a real pain for your opponent. A unit of 2 or 3 bases, 2 for 70 points, 3 for 105. The unbreakableness of them means that they're only giving ground. The ability to put them up with a 5-inch vanguard at the start of the game, keep them in your bubble because you
Yeah.
keep your Black Orc character at the
Yeah,
front
yeah.
next to them, and then push them into a really strong position
Mm-hmm.
in terms of countering your opponent's charge arcs.
Yeah.
And because they're going to pin it, you can hit it. And your opponent has got to do 12 to 18 wounds.
Can you
Yeah.
march in columns, swarms?
Yes.
So, can they? Vanguard at 5 inches,
Move 15.
and then Mars from 15, move 20 inches to
And I'm unbreakable. And ultimately, if I don't, even if I
Did you
fail
enjoy that, Joe?
even if I fail
Little
the,
combo.
even if I fail the impetuous test, I can't complete the charging marching column,
Nope. And you don't have drilled, so you can't.
and I can't do anything
Forced
about it. So
yeah.
I'll just pull up in a nice sloping 20-inch arc to pull you across.
Yeah.
I've got you tied up nicely for a counter, and unless
You're
I know I'm
also tied
T2,
up
but unless
for
you
the,
can do 18 wounds, good luck.
Yeah.
You're tied up for the fanatics as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really think
Solid.
these have got some potential to be very competitive.
I think marching column is probably the way I'd go with them
Yeah.
actually as well. Open order marching column.
Little 1x3 thing.
Yeah.
Very competitive.
Then that completely mugs off the impetuous as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the rat dart. The rat
Yeah,
dart is in resurgence.
It's not Lindar.
It's not Lindar resurgence.
So and it really has the potential to be a real booger in your opponent's day.
There was about throwing weapons.
You've lost the rights to the book now.
No, I think people are not seeing enough potential in those. I think they're very competitive.
Yeah, solid.
Please continue.
Yeah, on to Night Goblin mobs then.
My boys.
They are the same. No, they're one more. They are one more initiative. The characters aren't, but they are one more initiative
And one
than the
less
goblins.
leadership, I think.
And one less leadership for the same point. Still 3 points. Come with a hand weapon and shield. Have to be in a unit of 10. Can take thrusting spears or short bows, or swap their shields for short bows for a point of model. As the normal goblins, their command options
Those
the
are
same
mains
point.
as well, so you could just leave them with a hand weapon and
Yeah.
purchase a shield, keep it really cheap.
Yeah.
You don't have to purchase the shield. They come with the shield.
Oh, they do?
Yeah,
Actually,
As do
Mate,
regular
they're
goblins.
really
They're exactly
good.
the same.
They're really good. Look.
Oh, I thought you used to like to purchase a shield.
Nope.
Oh, it's a light armour you purchase.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You can't give these guys light armour.
But that's okay.
never good. Command option 7 for the champion, 5 for the other two.
It's just because it gives you more leadership.
Yeah, it does give you 1 more point of leadership and an extra attack. You can have netters for 20 points, and you can include up to 3 fanatics for 25 points
really
each.
solid. I still think that is
Yeah,
really
I think
solid.
it's really solid. And then 1 unit per 1,000 can purchase magic standard up to 50 points. They are close order, they fear elves, they hate wolves, they've got horde and warband. And that netters is when this unit's combat is chosen during step 1.1 of the choose and fight combat subphase, it can attempt to entangle one enemy unit it is engaged with. Roll a dice. On a 1, the unit is entangled itself. On the 2+, the enemy is entangled. Until the end of the combat phase, an entangled unit suffers a -1 modifier to its strength characteristic to a minimum of 1.
This
These
is
modifiers are not
I
cumulative.
think it's great.
Actually better
Did
than
you
it used to
mention
be.
Fanatics as well? Sorry.
Yes.
We'll do that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll go on to fanatics
Actually
in a
better
second.
than it used to be, guys, because this can affect impact hit strength.
Yep.
Which you couldn't do before, because you used to flip the netters after impact hits were completed.
Yeah.
Right. I think you did it resolved your impact hits, because they were done before anything, and then
Yeah,
you rolled
maybe.
your netters.
Yeah.
If I remember rightly.
Yeah, whereas
but
you rolled the netters beforehand, so all of a sudden stuff like light chariots are going down to strength 3,
it's
so
used.
they're forced to wound them at that point.
Yeah.
Big fan of netters. Don't see why I wouldn't take them every time again. Really, like particularly.
Well, the
like
unit's
these
so
size unit.
cheap. If you took 40 night goblins,
Mm-hmm.
it's like 120 points.
Yeah.
I think the 20-man
Bang,
block
bang.
is the size as well.
20, 25.
Yeah.
Make the most of their
Yeah.
board.
Yeah, well, I think you just got to watch your marching column element, and your 5x5 at 25 is very good though.
Yeah.
Yes, I think they're in every army.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, weirdly, one of those armies that like Orcs and Goblins probably have more units that you would look at and go, you're definitely going to take infantry than basically any other army.
But that's because
in the
they
game.
have a lot less units that aren't infantry.
Yeah, that is
And
true.
they're quite
Quite a bit
infantry
is that.
heavy.
But also, their stuff is really good.
Well, I mean, it's because of these bad boys, really.
Yes.
So fanatics, bigger, brighter, and more ball smashing than ever before. I don't know, ball throwing. I don't know. They've
Ball
got
swinging.
ball swinging than ever
swinging,
before. I like that. That's better. They are, I think, the best I've ever known them to be.
25 points, 0 to 3 per unit of night goblins.
Yeah.
They are pricey, but they are, in my opinion, the best that I've ever known them to be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Um,
without question.
So they are strength 5, T3. The toughness means nothing though.
Nope.
1 wound
Well,
means basically
Very
nothing.
little. Yeah.
Initiative 5, wild. Leadership 10.
don't know why they've got an
Initiative
initiative.
doesn't make any
I know,
sense because they're
none of
taking
it
away
makes
all their other stuff, but they've kept their initiative.
Immune Strike, and you release the Fanatics. So this is where it all gets a bit spicy.
Mm.
Fanatics are not placed on the battlefield at the start of the game. Instead, you make a note of the Night Goblin unit they're in. Any of you that have played before are familiar with this idea.
Yeah.
They're concealed units. A concealed unit may release 1 or more of its Fanatics. That's really strong. So now I've got the flexibility to fire them,
Some of them,
one at
not
a
all of
time
them,
or
yeah.
a couple of
Release
them.
as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
May release 1 or more.
It's not
Huge.
like it used to
be
be.
fixed when
Yeah.
I released them. This
also
is so much
fixed when you
stronger.
got to a specific range as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
If you got within range, they had
A very
to pop.
annoying range, because very often it would mean that I could miss the unit altogether.
Yeah.
Because it was only 2d6.
And you just
wasn't
expose
it?
it, yeah.
And I think if you had Chakax, lizardmen for example, it was 12 inches they had to reveal themselves.
Oh, because one of his rules was
Yeah,
His helmet,
hidden.
I don't
his
think they
helmet
had-
is models of hidden units within 12 have to reveal
Yeah.
themselves.
have to reveal themselves.
Yeah,
Well, that is
which meant that assassins had to reveal themselves,
Yeah.
and
Kemmler's
They had
staff
to
used to do
fire
something
up.
similar. It used
Yeah.
to say you must reveal all hidden things in the unit.
Yeah, there was an ogre item in 8.
Yeah, very good. When a fanatic travels, it travels through the air to land spinning several feet from its concealed unit.
that's a key point though, because that means that I suppose that does mean that you could technically throw them over impassable because they're effectively flying.
Again,
I
it's a
mean,
bit
the
of an odd
idea
one.
again, it doesn't really make sense how, but apparently they come out of the unit flying.
Didn't the
They
FAQ
literally chuck them.
Didn't the FAQ say though that I think certainly for vortexes they're now considered, if you fly over them you're considered to have still passed
Yes.
through them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that would have any
Vortex,
bearing.
yeah.
But to represent this, place the model so that it's based within 3 of the concealed unit and not touching the base of any other models. Then during the compulsory movement phase, it moves 2d6. So now it actually moves a lot further away from the unit potentially as well.
because it starts
Well,
3
could you
away,
put them on the
then
3?
moves 2d6.
Yeah.
Yeah, during each other compulsory movement phase, it moves in a random direction, but the first one, you point it.
Yeah.
If the Fanatic's movement brings it into contact with a unit, friend or foe, it moves through and continues. When it moves through, they then do the ball and chain hits. Now these are D6 strength 5 minus 3 hits.
So I'm pretty sure that's the same as they always were, because they were strength 5 armor piercing.
But
Yeah.
the change to volumes of ward saves
Yeah.
and quality of ward saves
and
that you
quality
see,
of armor save.
and the impact of how much less stuff damages armor now.
Yeah.
These have really maintained
Oh, yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
And unlike before, you can't shoot them, you can't
No.
cast spells on them, you can't
Yeah.
do anything to them to get rid of them.
No. You can't
you've-
move into them to kill them, which you used to be able to do.
Yep. Should a
they
fanatic
do,
find
they do
itself
pop out though when you move into them, which
Yes.
means you can, and I did this with Val. You can pop them out of your base if your base is big enough.
And force them into
Force them
terrain
into
or something.
impassable terrain,
That's
quite
and
clever.
then they die.
Yes.
So there is that.
So a fanatic can't be charged, targeted, or attacked in any way. Should a fanatic find itself lying fully or partially underneath a template, it is at risk of being hit as normal though.
Yep.
So you could drop a breath weapon or a template.
If they're close enough to a unit, you can target a unit. You've only got to hit a
Yeah.
single model on that
Yeah.
unit, but if it falls on the ones underneath, then they're hit.
If they roll a natural double for their movement, or they move into difficult, dangerous, or impassable terrain, or any type of linear obstacle, they come to a sudden stop and are removed.
A sudden and terminal stop.
Sorry. Concealing units are destroyed if the unit flees. Before
No. So if a concealing unit is destroyed or
Or
flees
flees,
the
sorry.
battlefield before its fanatics have been released, they're removed as
Yeah.
casualties. If you just flee, as long as you rally,
You
or as
can
long
get
as you're
them.
still on the battlefield, your fanatics don't die.
and
But
crucially,
you
you could still release them whilst fleeing.
you can
Yes.
release them
Nothing
whilst
says you can't.
fleeing.
You can also release them in your opponent's start of turn subphase.
And the
They
FAQ
move
release,
both
in
compulsory
combat
move
as well.
you
subphase.
can release them in
You can
combat.
release them in
They think
combat.
you did it.
Yeah.
Wild.
Absolutely wild.
So they are hog wild.
Yes. So good.
And
So
would
good.
be in every list, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's why
why they
you're
wouldn't
always
be.
going to be taking those characters, and that's
Yeah.
why I think that's why I'm not annoyed about. Now look, yeah, they're cheap and you can get around the restrictions relatively easily. But I'm not annoyed to say that if someone wants to take 15 fanatics and they've got to have 15,
There are
like,
five
they've got to have 5
characters
and
and 5.
and
Yeah.
then in turn 5 units. Now obviously it's not a screaming amount of points, but the fact
Yeah,
they
yeah, add
shouldn't
up, yeah.
they shouldn't just get them free.
No,
You
yeah.
know, they're really
yeah.
good.
No, that's fair.
So moving on, I think we are almost out of infantry, guys,
Almost.
which is the majority of
Two
what we're looking at. Night Goblin Squig Herds come up next. 3 points for the Night Goblins. They are the same as a regular Night Goblin,
Yep.
except they're leadership 6, not leadership 4.
Yeah. That's
They
nice.
get braver when they're herding squiggaroos.
I'd be brave hiding behind a squig.
Yeah, I feel like you need to be brave to herd them.
And then the Cave Squigs have maintained their stat line of old, really. 10 points for these bad boys. Weapon skill 4, brilliant. Strength 5, excellent.
Yeah.
T3, not the best, but okay. Initiative 4, very spicy. 2 attacks. Leadership 3, you don't care because you used the Goblin's leadership anyway. Special rules wise, these boys have hatred for dwarves. Great stuff. Immune Psych, Impetuous again, but we talked about that. Loner, they have to be Motley Crew because you've got the mixture of the two types. They're open order. They can skirmish wildly.
Yeah.
I think I probably played them as open order for
Yeah.
the warband that they get.
Yes.
And Squigs Go Wild.
Yes, they do.
Available at all good bookshops. Excellent book written by a notable squig handler.
Squeaks go wild.
Grabbing the comma.
That's a
The herders can have thrusting spears for a point. Wouldn't bother, but the squig herders have assaulted implements, which I quite enjoy. The cave squigs have those huge gobs again. They're not quite as huge as the huge gob on the
there's
bouncy
the massive
squig.
gob.
Is it a massive gob?
I believe it's a massive gob, yeah.
But they're still pretty gobby.
It is massive gob.
To use an Essexism. So, the squigs themselves, their 2 attacks are made at strength 5 with a -1 modifier and their armor bane 1.
Yeah.
Really
Not
strong.
bad, yeah.
These guys
So the
will
squigs are
really
just
munch
good.
through stuff.
Squigs are just good,
Really
mate.
powerful. But if they ever break and flee from combat, which they can do,
Yeah, they're not
because
unbreakable.
they used to be unbreakable, didn't they?
Yeah, I
Did
think,
used to be
and then you
unbreakable.
killed the herders.
Until you killed the handlers and they all died.
exploded.
Yeah,
Right.
and if you rear charged them, you had to do like 6 wounds and
Yeah.
pop the entire unit.
So should a squig herd ever break and flee from combat, so that's not give ground or fall back,
Nope.
they will go wild.
Yeah, they will.
If the herd contains 5 or more cave squigs, every unit, friend or foe, in 2d6 takes d3 strength 5 hits with a -1 AP. It's not a lot of hits.
No,
For every additional 5 cave squigs, add +1 modifier to the d3. So it goes d3 +1 +2 +3.
Yeah.
That's what it always was, though, to be fair.
I can't remember what it
Yeah,
was.
that's what it always was.
Once
Yeah,
the hits have been
sounds
resolved, treat the unit as being completely destroyed in combat and remove it from play, which means the unit that has fought it and done that wouldn't have to go for a full overrun, I don't think.
It's completely destroyed in combat.
It's completely destroyed that they could test to restrain, couldn't they?
Oh, well, they can
Yeah,
test, yeah.
test the restraint
Yeah.
reform. Right,
It's
yeah.
not like they fall back and to do it I've got to catch him as well.
No. It's just worth saying as well, there is a little bullet point. When you write your army list, they call it muster list, I don't know why. When you write your army list, a Night Goblin Squig Herd must contain at least 1 Squig Herder for every 5 Cave Squigs. Cave Squigs always occupy the front ranks of the unit, pushing past any Squig Herders to get there if necessary, such as when the unit turns.
That's a much looser restriction than before that used to say 1 in 3.
Yes.
The ones that 3.
Yeah.
So when you write a mustard list, it's got some of those and some Night Goblin fanatics, and there's a big long line of Black Orc.
the glizzy of Black Orc.
Yeah, you could. Which you're mustarding along the back.
Exactly it.
So, moving on to what I've come to realise over the last few weeks of playing this game, have become a really underwhelming choice in the old world, which is
Yeah, they
trolls.
don't really kill a lot,
In
do
this
they?
iteration.
Trolls, all trolls.
I think they're potentially much better in a troll horde unit, troll horde list.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that
Yeah,
works,
no,
so
but
we'll
I
have to
don't
look
really
at
know
that.
how that
That'll be
works.
another video. So troll mobs, you've got lots of options for trolls, but I would argue none of them are very good.
Well,
So-
I mean, you've got 3 options for trolls.
That's a lot more than other armies get.
Yes, true. It's
so-
the same number as you got in 8th edition, though.
Yeah, it's still a volume of trolls.
Yeah, okay.
You can have common trolls, which are, pretty common. Movement 6, weapon skill 3, strength 5, T4, 3 wounds, initiative 2, 3 attacks, leadership 4, 41 points. You can have river trolls, which I would argue probably the best of the bunch.
Yeah.
Exactly the same, except they get a 4th wound,
For 8 points.
but lose a point of initiative. But I
Yeah.
do think the difference between 2 and 3 really isn't a lot.
No.
And
One
then
and two,
8,
you mean?
8 points dearer. And then stone trolls, which are also that initiative of 1. These
They
guys
get
get
the
a point
+1
of
leadership.
leadership, which is nice.
But do lose the wound again.
But they do go back to 3
Yeah.
wounds. Now they've all got their own special rules. There's a lot of crossover.
Yes.
All of them have armor bane 1.
Yep.
All of them are close order.
Yeah.
All of them cause fear.
Yep.
Flammable.
All of them are flammable,
Yeah.
which helps because all of them have regeneration 5+.
Yes.
And
And
stupidity.
all of them have stupidity.
And all of them are stupid.
It's literally just the stone trolls. They've
The
got,
stone trolls, however, are magic resistance
stone
of
trolls.
-1.
And they also have armoured hide 1.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, they do.
yes, they do.
They
Which
do.
means they have a 5 up because everyone comes with callous hides these days,
Which is light armour.
which is light armor.
Yes.
So they, the stone trolls have a 5 up in MR1.
Mm-hmm.
The river trolls have a 6 up, but they have the extra wound, which I think is probably
Yeah.
where the points
I think
are.
it's much of a
Particularly when you kill but when you kill a front rank and you don't get attacks, I think
Yeah.
that 4th wound is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true.
And the common trolls, I just think are garbage.
Yeah.
They can all take add hand weapons or great weapons. I think there's an argument for both.
Yeah.
The add hand weapons, I think, were the auto take in the past, but I think where they're
Great
only
weapons
armor bane
nowadays,
1 now, I think there's a big argument, and the fact that I can still have my
Great
initiative
weapons
if I
are
charge.
-2, aren't they?
Great weapons start at
Minus
-2,
two,
yeah,
and
then-
they're armor bane 1 as well.
which
with
means
the
I get
armor
armor bane 2 if I
on-
roll
so
a
on
6,
you're on
-4.
-4.
And you're initiative 1 already.
Yeah.
So, and the way that ISL stacks now, it's like, who cares, mate?
Yeah, there's no
You
difference
might as well
there.
take the great. I think the great weapon is definitely the choice.
So if I'm going to
Yeah.
do it, I think it's a river troll with a great weapon, personally, guys.
Potentially a stone troll with a great weapon. Because like you lose the wound, yeah, but the extra leadership's nice and the magic res is nice.
1 point of armour. I'm going to be using my general's leadership. If my
yeah.
general's gone, I've lost.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
And then they all have Troll Vomit now, which I think we've discussed in a previous video, but I'll remind you all, when you've done everything, when you're all said and done, right at the end, any trolls that are still in the base contacts in the front rank, which is where that 4th wind and the river troll, I think, again, comes into
what's
play.
interesting is, oh yeah, no, don't worry.
They do 1 hit, it's automatic, and it's -2 to your save. You like what I'm saying until you hear it's only strength 3.
Yeah, it's not great.
If I think about them before, they used to be strength 5 no armour, but they were exchange my attacks. This is an extra. So, 6-1 after the other. It's okay.
Terrible.
It's free. The way I look at it is it's free. I don't feel like when I look at my stat line, I've really paid for it.
The trolls have stomp. They don't, do they?
No.
Why does it say... oh, don't worry. No, it's fine.
In case something else
in case something else got stopped. Yeah.
Right, so...
unit size wise, you can take a single troll of any variety.
Which you did do before.
Up to 9 max.
So singles could be a good...
great weapons aren't terrible.
Could be a good chaff drop as well.
Yeah.
Based on the fact that they're quite hardy to get rid of, and they aren't impetuous. So.
Yes, very true.
So we are done and done. We're going to move on to some cavalry.
Infantry, yeah.
Yeah.
On to some cav. So Orc Boar Boys. These are heavy cavalry.
Surprising, actually. I was surprised at that.
Surprising. They are strength 3, toughness 4 for the dude on top, the Orc on top. With leadership 6 or 7 for the champion. The Warboar has got 1 strength 3 attack, although he does have his Tusker charge,
which is +1 strength, -1 AP.
Yeah. They come with light armour. You can give them cavalry spears or shields for a point. You can replace their light armour with heavy armour for a point. And they've got armoured hide 1 as well, which is very nice. Full command wise, you've got 8 points for the champion, 6 points for the other bits. 25 points of magic items on the champion. 1 unit per 1,000, up to 1 unit per 1,000 can have a magic standard up to 50 points. You can have 0 to 1 units in your army, you can have the big uns rule for 2 points a model. 0 to 1 units per 1,000 can also be replace their light armour with frenzy for a point a model, and if they are frenzied, they can have war paint for a point.
So you can still do your Savage Orc Boys.
Yep. Can't give them additional hand weapons.
And you can't have anywhere near as many as you could have in the past.
No.
So big changes there if you've got your Savage Orc Boys from before.
Yes.
So this is the thing with big uns, right? We're gonna just call it as we see it. So I think probably intention wise, there's a couple of points here. I think your army's probably meant to have 1 unit of big uns.
Yeah.
But the way it's worded doesn't say 1 unit per army. It says one of each type of unit. Yeah. So actually, you can stack up quite a lot of big uns. Maybe that was the intention. That used to be a character unlock to get lots of big uns. Yeah. So perhaps the intention is to do that. So that's the way we've ruled it.
You say lots. It is still only 2
units of big uns.
Yeah.
Why's that?
1 orc unit. 1 orc.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And 1
orc. Yeah. So it's only 2.
It's still only 2.
Similarly, the other kind of collateral with big uns, if you like, is that technically affects the boar.
Yes.
Right? Now I know there's going to be some people at home that are like, Triple Crown, you're mad, that's clearly not the intention, and I'm going to say, I'm sure it isn't the intention, I completely agree with you, but in the absence of an FAQ, right, for a live living game, I know some of you say, well, you used to FAQ stuff for 8th all the time in what you thought was the intention. Yeah, of course we did. It wasn't a live living game. It hadn't been supported.
There was no chance we were going to get an FAQ from Games Workshop to say one way or the other.
But in the position that we all find ourselves in now, realistically, you're playing raw. You're playing rules as written, and the rules as written say the model gets +1 strength, and a model includes.
Well, yeah.
This is the point, isn't it? Because there's this interchangeable use of model as a word.
Model is
again in the FAQ they recently just said about the fact that like a model is now like its constituent parts.
Yeah.
So by those standards, then the boar isn't affected.
But then what part buys it? What part buys?
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Yeah, because
it just says
all boar mobs can purchase.
And it actually gets worse than that, you see, because if you want to play models like that and say they're constituent parts, right? Then my Tomb King Chariot gets 5d3 impact hits per chariot. Because they have impact hits D3, which is a special rule, and I've got 2 horses, 2 riders, and a chariot, so that's 5
that's
D3.
the problem.
And split profile says if one part has a special rule, it applies to the other.
So again, that's clearly not the intention.
No. So even if you were to say, well, actually, only the orc on top is buying big uns, it's a special rule. Therefore, it applies to both parts.
Yeah. So
as per split profile.
it is problematic unless you explicitly say this ignores the regular rules.
This
for
does
special
not
rules.
affect the model's mount.
That's it, yeah. Or put that in a special rule.
Yeah.
So either way, we're saying at the moment, at the time of filming this, that Big Uns applies to the boar as well.
Strength 5 foot boars on the chart.
Because of the raw element, but I think we all feel that it probably doesn't, but it's challenging because we're not on the playtesting team, we didn't write these rules, we don't know what the intention is, and so it's not like an event pack that we've written where we can say we know what our intention is. And so that's where we are, but yeah, I mean, look, Cavalry is strong, I think. I know there's this weird movement that I see online at the moment of people saying, no, you don't want to take Cavalry, they're too many points for one wound. Oh, I could not disagree more. They're
15 points is not many points.
They're one of the only ways to get good armour in your list for most armies.
Yeah.
They're very swift, they get across the table, they've got great unit strength, they're very punchy. And even if you really max these guys out, Cavalry spears, shields, heavy armour, and Big Uns, 20 points. 20 points? You mad? They're
3 up armour
well
save.
good.
3 up armour save, strength 4, strength 5
on the
boar as
charge.
well. Strength 5 for the boar on the charge.
Strength 5 for the rider on the charge, you've got Cavalry spear.
Yeah, you got Cavalry spear, strength 5 for the... They've got counter charge, they've got furious charge as well.
Rerolling ones to wound.
Yeah, because they've got choppers.
Yeah.
They've got swift stride, they do have impetuous, but they have warband, so they can re-roll their charge.
Yep. And
Massive.
get a 50-point magic banner.
Yeah,
If I want it.
Magic banner.
Which these are one of the ones where you do look and think the armour piercing banner isn't normally that great, but for these guys,
I can't remember what it's called. Yeah.
yeah, raise the standard.
Razor. It's still
But
Razor.
for these guys, it's actually worth thinking about because I'm dishing quite a lot of attacks per
Yeah,
model.
maybe.
And as I get a supporting attack from the boar and the rider now,
Yeah.
even when I'm not in base contact,
not a supporting attack, just an attack from the
an
fighting
attack
rank,
from
not
the
in base
fighting rank,
contact.
yeah,
Yeah.
that seems decent.
Solid, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
I think at 20 points a model, I think they're
I
pulled up
definitely,
like that,
I
I
definitely have them.
I think they're worth it. Yeah.
Just got to get the models.
Yes.
So moving on, Goblin Spider Riders.
Spider Riders, yes.
I don't want to speak about them. I'm not talking.
They are movement 7.
Look at that.
Much to the Loremaster's disdain. They are strength softness 3, strength 3 for the spider, 1 attack for the goblins, 1 attack for the spider. The spider is initiative 4. 12 points a model, units of 5+. They come with shields and oh good, okay, I was going to say poisonous fangs on the giant spiders, but not poison. But they do have poison attacks, which quite hilariously is both parts of the model has poison attacks.
Yep.
So that's nice.
They dip it in the poisonous fang before they rub the spear tip on the poisonous fang to get
Your
started.
goblins got poison attacks as well. They are fast cavalry.
Why?
I love them. I love them.
Poison attacks, giant spider only.
Move through cover as well. Scarlet
move
over
through
things.
cover, very good.
No, they
Open order, fear elves, impetuous, swift stride, which is nice, and warband. You can take cavalry spears, short bows, and or light armor, each for a point a model.
Warband finding that second rank really coming in clutch.
You can take full command for 7 points for the boss, 5 points for the other bits, and 0 to 1 unit per 1,000 can take a 50-point magic standard.
It's coming on with the 50-point balance.
Yeah.
Oh my Spider Riders! It's wild.
Yeah.
I love it.
Solid little unit, 12 points a model.
They're great.
Yeah.
They've maintained any use they had before. They've
Yeah.
maintained. They're decent. They're cheap enough to throw away. They'll harry enemy wizards. The poison attacks means that they're actually pretty decent. When you get those lone wizards that go running round to try and get the 360 arc, they're actually pretty decent at dispatching those with the poison attacks.
Unless it's a demon prince, I probably wouldn't bother if it's a demon prince.
I
I think he's going to kill you.
I mean, yeah, maybe. If you charge him, you're initiative 6, mate. You're going first.
Yeah, okay, with, what, 10 attacks?
Yeah.
Hitting him on 5s.
It's only 6s I want.
So, 1, maybe 2.
Yeah, I'd nick 2 of them. I'd be well chuffed.
Maybe.
2 of them I'd
Maybe.
be well chuffed. That's when I bust the stubborn banner on him, my 50-point banner. I'm only giving ground, baby. I'm putting back in good order. What are you going to do? Pursue me? I'm going to charge you again. I'm coming back. He's got nothing. No, I mean, in all seriousness, though, for those types of single characters, they're a tasty little
Nice
unit.
little choice, yeah.
Eleven
Probably
attacks,
wouldn't bother
my boss
with-
has got 2.
Probably wouldn't bother with any of the upgrades, to be honest, like weapon-wise or armour-wise. They don't have armour, I don't think a 6-up armour's worth it. Enough has got -1 AP.
Do you know what?
If they had the armoured hide, I'd definitely would take.
If they could take the cavalry spear, I think is worth thinking about.
Okay. Oh, sorry, no, they do have shields. They would have a 5-up save.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
said if
maybe
they
I
had the
would.
armoured hide, you can
Yeah.
use a 4-up save.
But-
Yeah.
Could you imagine 4-up spiders? But
It's only toughness 3 with 1 wound.
I think the cavalry spear is worth thinking about because it ups their strength, but crucially it gives them the -1.
Yeah, it does.
Which they wouldn't have otherwise, which
True.
interacts nicely with the poison.
True.
So yeah, I don't hate them. I think they're good. Wolf Riders. Then
on to the other chaff cavalry choice. A little bit cheaper, 2 points a model cheaper. They have the same stat line. The wolf is movement 7.
Wolf is movement 9.
Sorry, movement 9 rather than movement 7. Still come with hand weapon and shields. No poison attacks, which is the loss.
Wolf is 1 less initiative.
He is 1 less initiative. Yeah. You can take either cavalry spears for free or replace their shields with short bows for free. You can take light armor for a point. Command is the same, 7 points for the champ, 5 for the other bits. 0 to 1 per 1,000 points can have Feigned Flight for 2 points a model, Reserve Move for 1 point a model, and a Magic Standard up to 50 points.
Feigned Flight's good.
Yeah, I
It is
don't mind
good.
Feigned Flight.
With their leadership, it's good.
Yes. You've got Chariot Runners, you've got Fast Cav, Fear of Elves, Fire and Flee, Impetuous, Open Order Skirmishers, Swift Stride, and War.
The Feigned Flight interacts really strongly with the Fire and Flee. I also think Reserve Move works really nicely with Fast Cavalry because I can move, twist if I want to stay open order, come up, do my wheel, my pivot, and then move again.
Yeah.
I think that's really strong.
You can come up, do your pivot, shoot, and move again as well.
Yeah. So I think these are really flexible. They're a very different role to. I don't know if they're as good at killing the lone character type things as the spiders,
probably not.
but they're really, really strong at pulling enemies out of position, and they're very useful for hitting war machines if anyone's taken any.
Yeah, you do have to worry about the Impetuous though. With these
Absolutely.
units.
Yeah. And that's where your Wyvern potentially Rido has got that strength potentially to be able to sort of hold stuff down. But yeah, unfortunately the Impetuous is always going to be a painful rule.
Yeah.
Last of the Cav.
Yeah, Squig Hopper mobs. So these are they are good. They are 12 points model, so same as a Spider Runner. They are the same Goblin stat wise.
Just quickly as well as a thought, the with those they're Chariot Runners.
The Wolf Riders, yeah.
So one thing you could look at is having an Orc War Boss, a Black Orc Big Boss on a chariot that runs up behind them.
Yes.
Quells their impetuous nature and then charges
You
through
can
them.
charge through, yeah.
As long as they're skirmish.
Yeah.
So you would have to put them in skirmish.
Very true. Back to the Squig Hoppers.
Sorry.
Goblin stat line is exactly the same as it was for the other two bits of Cav. They are on a Bounder Squig though, which is random move 3d6 with 2 initiative 4 strength 5 attacks.
Yeah,
Very nice.
with his huge gob.
With his huge gob, which you've seen before, which is strength as user -1 AP, armor bane 1.
So scary still.
Yeah, not bad. You can take cavalry spears and light armor for a point each a model. You can only have a champion for 6 points, and he can take up to 25 points of magic items. They hate dwarves, they're immune to psychology, they have impact hits 1, which is very nice.
Another strength 5 impact.
Yeah. Loner, open order, random movement, skirmishers, and warband.
The fact they can be open order as well as skirmish is
Yeah.
really spicy.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't get the point of warband because they don't charge, and then I realise they can be open order and get the rank
get
bonus.
the
The leadership
bonus,
bonus for their ranks. Yeah, not bad. Not
I
bad.
think you would take the cavalry spear and light
The,
armor.
the immune psychology
40
though
points
means
a
that
model.
their low leadership is almost like non-existent
Yeah.
for a concern because
Yeah.
they don't take a leadership to resist charging. It's a roll
And they're
of
not
the dice.
impetuous.
Oh, they're not impetuous. Yeah. So again,
really
you
good.
look.
No.
I think they're sick.
I think you
mate.
probably
Yes.
just run them in
With
skirmish,
box.
and then you can.
Two
I mean,
units
it don't
of 5.
matter. You can fire in any direction anyway, random move. But
No. Don't believe you can with random move now. I don't believe you get to pivot and then move.
oh, okay,
You just wheel.
right. Well, then they're really
Just
good.
run them in skirmish.
Yeah, run them in skirmish.
I probably wouldn't bother with the light armor to give them a 6 up because they don't come with shields. I probably
Oh, they
would
don't
bother
come
with
with
the cavalry
shields,
spears.
yeah,
though.
so
That's
you
probably the
probably
one I'd go
The
with.
cavalry spears are well worth thinking about,
Yeah.
and the 25-point magic item. We'll come back to that and see if I can
Mhm.
find anything useful later. There is the very common Ed button at,
Yes.
which I
Like
don't.
15
I
points.
don't hate on anything like these.
That's it for Cav though. Do you want to go on to Chariots?
Yeah, can do. So, Orc board chariots. Now, they are the strength and toughness 5 with 4 wounds. Really strong. They go
Solid.
two Orc crew and 2 warboar. So the
Mhm.
warboar's movement 7, which is nice. Weapon skill 3, strength 3, initiative 3 with 1 attack.
All the 3s.
But there is 2 of them, so that's not too bad.
Yeah.
And then you've got 2 Orc crew, which are weapon skills and BS 3. They're strength 3, initiative 3, 1 attack, and initiative 7.
The tusks give you +1
So
strength and
you-
+1 AP on the charge as well
For
for
the
the
You
boars,
get
boars.
the
yeah.
Tusker charge, yeah.
Yeah.
but they are obviously a heavy chariot, which is nice. So they get the additional AP on their impact hits.
Yeah, they do a lot of impact hits as well. D6 plus
really
1.
Strong. D6 plus 1 is outrageous. But special rules, they've got choppers, close order, first charge, ignore Goblin
First
Panic.
charge, very strong.
Ignore Goblin Panic's good as well. Impact hits D6 plus 1. They're impetuous, you know, Tusker Charge and Warband. You may
take them in. Oh, they reroll their charge. Oh, that's really good. The Warband on them.
They're only one, but you can do it with the Warband, which is great. You made a third all crew member for 5 points if you want, which I don't think's bad.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, not bad.
They've got cavalry spears.
They have cavalry spears,
Yeah,
so I think you probably would take the third one. 0 to 1 per 1,000 points can have frenzy if you want them to, and then in turn
2 points per crew.
Yeah, and then in turn, a frenzy chariot may have the warpaint special rules. So if you really want those themed savage orc boar chariots, then you can.
Yeah, I mean you can.
And then obviously, additionally, this is where the orc boar character mount comes into play. So an orc boar chariot may be included in your army as a character mount.
Yeah.
If so, you just add the points of the chariot to the mount.
90 points is so cheap. When I look at some of the other armies' chariots, what they
4
get
up save
for the points.
90 points for a 4-up save, D6 plus 1
the
impact hits and minus 2.
T5 4-up save. Like a lot of stuff has got a slightly better save, but then lacks on toughness. Or is really expensive. Like chariots with those sort of stats in a lot of other armies are 120, 130 points, and these are rocking 90.
95 if you want the third crew.
And
I think you probably do take at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, if you desperately wanted to, you could wire that character.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
desperate time, desperate measures, but no, I think all board chariots are sick.
Can I just say, could we have? I'm now seeing a model in my mind.
Here we go.
War boss on chariot, yeah, with like a guy whipping the boar because you ain't gonna get them all in the basket. Then two orcs riding the boars. I'll pay for the extra crew. 2 orcs on the front riding the boars.
You could.
Yeah, you could do.
You could do.
You could do.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either, but you could.
Why wouldn't you? That's amazing.
I don't know.
It's alright. I'd have the orcs hanging off the chariot personally.
Yeah,
Dark Elder style.
Yeah,
Max is what I'd have.
But
no, I think all board chariots are sick.
I've seen
really
some
good
people
character
online
mounts.
posting armies of all chariots, and now I'm seeing why people are considering armies with lots of chariots.
Chariots are really good, especially heavy chariots. But and then we get on to the last chariot in the book, Goblin Wolf chariots.
There's 2 chariots there, mate.
There's 2 chariots left.
Yeah, the last chariot in the book.
No, there's 2 left.
Well, I didn't see the Scotland pump wagon. Sorry, I was looking at the whole page. But, yeah, so the second to last,
penultimate
Goblin Wolf chariot.
We've peaked, by the way.
Chariot is strength 5, which is nice because it's a strength 5 impact hit. Now it's only a light chariot, so there's no AP, but still strength 5 impact hit is really good. Better than most armies light chariots.
Yeah, for 53 points, outrageous.
Yeah, toughness 4, 3 wounds.
Always
so
had 3
they're a
wounds
little
though,
softer
so that's soft.
You get the sorry, I just see something that really made me laugh. You get 3 Goblin Crew, a weapon skill 2, BS 2, 3, strength 3, initiative 3, 1 attack, initiative 6, which is a bit low, and then 2 Giant Wolves, which are movement 9. Obviously, spoke about the movement on those earlier. Massive, weapon skill 3, strength 3, initiative 3, 1 attack. Now they have iron weapons, cavalry spears, and short bows. So they've got the BS 3 360 arc sight because they're a chariot. They've got a 5 arm save, which is a bit softer, but it is a light chariot, so it's not
53 points.
Very cheap.
Now, any unit may upgrade one model to so their unit size as well. Goblin Wolf chariots, you can have units of 1 to 5 of them.
Yeah.
And you can have you can have a standard bearer of 5 points, and any Goblin Wolf chariot may add a 3rd giant wolf.
Yeah, so you got Grom the Paunch's chariot.
Yep.
I've got the model
that's true.
in the other room.
And they go onto a wider base.
But that's why I haven't used it on the channel, because I wanted to use it in a battle report. But I need a wider base than the one I've got.
Now they've got 3 of elves, impact is D3 plus 1, impetuous, which is the big shame, open order, swift stride and warband.
Yeah.
Because they're united, warband is actually quite good.
Yeah, well, mainly because you can reroll the charge.
Yeah.
And obviously they can also be a character mount for Goblin Wolf chariots. They can be a character mount for you goblins.
I just think the lack of AP on the impact hits is what kills, what hurts these. But they are cheap enough to
very
fire and forget, just chuck them at the enemy and let them die.
Now we're going to get on to the creme de la creme of chariots.
They used to be.
The snot, like, they did used to be outrageous.
They used to just ignore armour on their impact hits.
The snotling pump wagon.
Spores,
yeah.
Now their movement 2d6, strength and toughness 4 with 3 wounds. They've got 6 snotling crew, weapon skill 2, BS 2, strength 2, initiative 3, one attack, leadership 4. Yeah. Now the leadership 4 is a pain. There are only 3 wounds, toughness 4, and then they've got 6 up armour save, which is very disappointing. But they're only 35 points, and they've got Armor Bane 3 on your impact hits.
Yeah.
Immune Psych, impact hits D3+1, loner, open order, random movement. Yeah, they're not what they were.
Units of 1 to 6 is top ants as well.
Yeah, you can have a unit of 6 of them.
I think 3 at 105 points, 3d3 impact hits, Armor Bane 3 on your impact
3d3
hits.
plus 3.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, if you maxed it out, you're only looking at.
You're looking at if you maxed out, you're looking at 2 minus 3s.
I just don't think it's that great. And
I'd still take them individuals, personally.
They've got the 50 by 75 up to 50 by 100.
Yeah.
They're one with a variable base, but
yeah.
Honestly, I think they've had the day. I'm not very keen on them in this set.
I don't think they're bad for 35 points.
If you've got the 35 points, you might take
Yeah,
it, but
I
there's
just
not
think
one
there's better
plus
stuff.
for me.
Just think your 3 of those is more expensive than my 1-board chariot.
Yeah.
So
So that is the last chariot. We are now moving
It
on
is.
to
You got that-
monsters.
you got that right that
time. We're moving to monsters now.
Yeah. Now,
is it a dragon?
no.
We've only got two
It's a
limbs, so
No.
It is a wyvern
Game of
which
Thrones
can,
dragon.
which can only
two
be
limbs, so
included,
not a dragon.
which can only be included as a character mount, and you just add the points to the rider. So you add 130 points. It is movement 4, but it flies. Fly 9, not bad. Web skill 5, strength 6, adds 1 toughness and 4 wounds to the character, with 3 attacks at initiative 3. It has got heavy armour, it's scaly skin. It's close order, as I said, fly 9, large target, D3 stomps, swift stride, which is nice, and terror. It's got wicked claws, pretty standard, uses strength AP -2. And then it must make one of its attacks with its venomous tail, which is uses strength, strikes first, poison attacks.
But no AP, so.
No AP, and it is a monstrous creature, so no AP on its stomps either. It's not a behemoth.
It is only 130 points. Which
is only
for the 4
130
wounds, and the +1 toughness is pretty good.
Not
Let
bad.
alone the
Still
fly.
Yeah,
strength,
not
still
bad.
strength 6.
It's a Black Orc Warboss delivery system, and I just can't decide whether I can live with and without it. So
You've ruined it for everyone. We're
You
moving
really
on.
have.
We're moving on from the Wyvern now.
Yeah,
Jamie's
we are.
ruined it.
No, I think
No, we're moving on from the wyvern.
no, I think he's competitive though. He
Yeah, I think
lacks
he's
a
quite
bit of output. He does lack output,
Yeah,
but it's very
he does
easy for him
deliver
to
your
get.
war boss who does not lack output.
Yeah, and he's comfortably got a 2-up save.
Yeah,
Because he's got a plate armor, a shield, and he just takes troll trousers. You know, we'll get
Obviously.
to that later. But
Why
everyone
wouldn't
does.
you?
Yeah.
Your Ragnarok then, you can take this on its own. It's 310 points. You can also take it as a mount. It is movement 7, as it should be, right, James? Strength 5, toughness 6, 7 wounds, as it should be, right? It's got 8 goblin crew. There's an 8 for you.
Hey.
It's a behemoth on
Right
a,
legs as well.
on 100 by 150 mil base. It's got 4 up armor save as well, and 6 attacks at initiative 4, wrong way around. It has got poisonous fangs and venom surge, and the goblin crew have all got hammer weapons, cavalry spears, and short bows. You can take a spider silk lobber for 35 points, which is a 12 to 48 inch range stone thrower basically. Strength 4 under the hull, strength 2 under the rest of the template, and AP -1 under the hull. Uses the 5-inch blast. If you roll misfire, you lose a single wound. The venom surge, you must make, may choose to make one of your attacks at user strength AP -2.
You wouldn't.
Multiple wounds, D6, poison attacks.
About the only
strikes
thing in the game
first.
that's multiple wounds D6.
That is spicy. Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that, to be honest. It does have poison attacks. I was going to say it doesn't have poison attacks, but it does for its poisonous fangs, which weirdly also applies to the goblin crew. It's close order. It has the Howder rule. So the goblins have got 360-degree arc of sight for their shooting. It's immune to psychology, large target, move through cover, which is nice, D6 stomps, stubborn, swift stride, and terror. And note that because if you take it to mount, because it's got the Howler special rule and its own crew, which the character joins, and a Ragnarok spider is considered to be a chariot mount rather than a ridden monster.
Okay. I think they're really, really good in this edition, except for the fact they're 310 points.
So
They have a lot of points.
some
I
of you
think it's too many points.
Yeah.
may
I
have
think-
watched the Chaos video that we did, and I got a little bit upset. There was a bit of a rant around a certain 3-headed flying monster with a spiky tail. And I was very close to having a similar rant when I read This's rules initially.
This's?
Yeah, this thing's rules initially. So I am going to have a bit of a rant,
Okay.
but not anywhere near the Chimera level. That was outrageous. So it's got... No, it's a Chimera.
Yeah, it's
The Manticore I think is good. The
Manicore's
Chimera is
alright.
garbage.
Chimera is garbage.
6 attacks with no AP.
It's
Yeah.
Behemoth.
Garbage.
It gives AP to its stomp.
Gives
Oh, I
AP to
thought
its
it was-
stomps,
sorry,
not
I
straight
thought
attack.
AP was
This is the
fine.
thing that frustrates me. If he had AP on his attacks, he'd be worth 310 points.
Yeah, that's
Because
why
he's got
not worth the
D6,
points.
minus 2 stomps that are really strong. I'm
Yeah.
taking him for the stomps. That's what I'm
Venom
taking him
Surge.
for.
The Venom Surge is
Very
very,
good.
He's got a hit with it. He's got 1 weapon
Yeah.
skill, 4 attack.
Yeah, I know. But he's still
And
very
I'm
good.
only strength 5. I've then got a wound. Like, think about the stuff I really want to kill with that.
Yeah, you're probably on
Does
5
have poison
Fours or
attacks, though.
fives.
Yeah.
And he strikes
Does have
first.
poison attacks on it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you roll that 6, mate, and something's getting toasted.
Well, as long as they don't pass their armour save, which is probably
Yeah.
4
Yeah,
up.
that's true.
So 50% of the time they'll probably mug it. Like, I just...
No, you see, I don't think this is for characters. I think if you throw this into like a character on a
I
dragon
think
or
it's for
something,
other monsters.
it's just for other monsters.
But what other monsters are there in the game that aren't taken like that? That aren't taken with a good armour savers amount?
Well, like all of them.
Necrosphinxes.
Like Necrosphinxes.
Maybe the Sphinx, yeah.
Scorpions, it's good against scorpions.
Scorpions.
Yeah, it's good against
People might have
scorpions.
bone giants. They're good against them.
They're garbage,
The,
yeah.
they're not garbage, but let's
Necrosphinxes-
let's not crying.
Necrosphinxes,
They're not garbage.
You're right.
It's good
Bone,
for chariots.
bone
It's
dragons
decent for
that
chariots.
bone dragons that aren't a king on the back.
But I
is
just,
really good
I
against
just
those.
think it's too many points.
Like-
Oh, I agree.
It's,
It is
like,
too many
you're
points
going to
to
run
get.
around and kill like 3 chariots in a game. Lovely.
Yeah, it is too many points.
It's a fortune for that.
Yeah.
And
It's the -2 on all his stomps.
250 and I'm in for it.
Though.
making it
Swift
-2
stride.
on its limb attacks, and I'm all in for it because it's a real big threat. It's a real big scary
Yeah,
threat.
I'd probably say 270.
I don't think you'd
Drop
bother
40
with a
points.
spider silk lobber, but I think
No, it's
I
garbage.
think that if you
No.
saw people with a Ragnarok, I don't think you'd be sitting there thinking, well, that's just the worst choice they could have made.
No,
I think they're
no,
solid. I
no.
think they're good.
No one's saying they're the worst choice they could have made. I just
You
feel
know.
like they're a bit expensive. And to be honest, the unforgivable sins,
Not
7 wounds and 7 movement. I mean, it's got 8 legs. You got to cut all 8 legs off.
How's it going to get around with 1 leg? The battle's over. Whoever it gets to, the battle's
I have
over
shown
by
you
that point.
how. Alright? I would have even
Let me cut off
accepted.
one of your legs and
I
then
would
see how
have
much
even
well you
accepted.
get
I would
around.
have even accepted. It moves 8 for every wound it loses. It loses a point of movement. I'd have been all for it.
You've accepted that. That means that makes it even worse.
No, because at least then it would be thematically
I don't
fun.
care. I'm not those.
I feel like Obi-Wan
Get
Kenobi
out
his
of
legs
here.
off, like Attack of the Clone style.
But
Yeah, I think this one's alright. It's nowhere near as bad as the Chimera.
I think they're still well takeable.
I think they're
I do.
takeable. I just think they're too many
They're a
points.
bit expensive, but
Yeah.
I think
they're
when you
still well
compare them to the
takeable.
other really quality monsters in the game, they just feel too.
they're
quick.
going to smash
Yeah.
up basically any infantry unit they hit, other than
But-
maybe
but-
something like Chosen.
Lots of stuff do
You
that.
know?
Like,
Yeah.
no
but,
offense.
but also
Black Ops do
similarly,
that.
they will hit a chariot and they'll probably kill a chariot. They'll hit a lot of monsters and they will kill, certainly if not very much so, hurt a lot of those monsters.
Yeah.
But like basically every monster in the Tomb King army has to be scared of this thing.
But
because
it,
the way
it,
they
it also
they
has to be
FAQ'd it
scared
now.
of every monster in the Tomb King army.
No, I don't think it does.
But if I roll 1/6 of a scorpion, it's dead, mate.
Yeah,
So-
that is
so I
true.
do-
But
I
every
need to
monster,
be well scared of it.
But still, that just because you're also scared of it doesn't mean that it's not a scary prospect for you.
No, but it's
You know.
4 times the points of my.
Yeah, scorpions are.
Obviously, no, but you
Drastically
can't
undercosted,
you can't benchmark stuff against scorpions.
I'm not
Like,
benchmarking it against a scorpion.
You can't
I'm just
benchmark
saying
upon those
each
things.
point. Like it's all right to say you can't sit there and say, well, it's a really scary threat to all my Tomb King monsters, and then fail to accept back the fact that the Tomb King monsters are all cheaper and just as good, if not better.
I didn't fail to accept that back at all.
So,
it doesn't,
you know,
just because they're cheaper and that doesn't stop it from still being a scary prospect.
I just think for the 310 points, there's a lot I could put in that would do its job most of the time.
Yeah, it is too many points.
And that's
Too
the
many
problem.
points,
No doubt
but-
That's
about
the
that.
problem.
Yeah.
If it was 250, even 270, I think you could squeak it. But for me, it's just too much as it stands.
Yeah. That's fair.
Or if its limbs were bladed, if you like, if its limbs did -2 all the time. If its
Yeah.
limbs did -2 all the time, it would be a
Yeah.
really seriously strong monster.
Yeah.
It's just
Even
missing a
-1.
certain.
Even
A
-1 on
cer-
its limbs, I think it'd be good.
Yeah, yeah,
It
maybe.
just needs something.
But yeah, it's very close to being brilliant.
Yeah.
I still think
That's
you will
fair.
see them.
Yeah.
Um,
Something I think you'll definitely see are Manglers.
but that's the other
still.
thing, it's competing against this as well.
Yes.
It's competing for points against stuff
Yeah.
like this, this is absolutely outrageous.
So these have changed a lot from what they used to be in 8th. They are still running movement 3d6. They are strength 6, toughness 5. They've got 4 wounds. I think they used to have 3.
Yep.
They're initiative 3 with d6 attacks, leadership 4 for 95 points. They've gone up 30 points, I think. I think they used to be 65.
Yeah,
didn't they?
about that.
They've got a wound though for that.
Yes, they have. They are a behemoth. So their stomps, which they've got D3 of, are -2 AP.
Mm-hmm.
They're on a 50 by 75 mil base. They have a colossal fang-filled gob and scaly skin, which counts as heavy armour. So they are close order, they hate dwarves. They're immune psychology, D6 impact hits, Kasplat, which means they treat all difficult terrain as dangerous terrain. Not great. Their large target, random attack,
Only
random
Fallon
movement.
or one.
Yeah, it's
You
not
know what I
the
mean?
end of the world. Spiked ball and chains, which are their
Affect their impact hits.
affect their impact hits. Yep. Thanks. And like I said, stomp attacks and then timber. They fall over when you kill them. So their spikes, ball and chains gives their impact hits AP -3, D6,
Really good.
strength 6, automatic hits, AP -3.
And then if we look
Disgusting.
back at our
Oh, we get
our
we've done
movement
our
7,
mate.
our movement 7 spider over there. But no, but this is serious. It's not me being like outrageous or like really trying to like rev it up. But I can get 3 of these and
Yeah.
like 25 point
Yeah.
change for
Well, they're capped.
the cost of the.
Mangler Squigs, I think, are capped based on characters, aren't they?
I'm gonna have
yes.
5 characters,
Yeah,
mate.
you probably are.
Because
yeah. I'm just
I mean I
saying.
know a lot of places are
Okay,
capping
then.
0 to 3, which I think is the right decision.
Yes.
But it's about the points, is what I'm saying. I can have 3 of these
Yeah,
for that,
I get
and
that.
these are terrifying.
yes.
-3 on the impact hits, wild.
Yep, their D6 attacks are strength 6, -2 killing blow. And then you've got D3 stomp attacks,
At
which
-2,
are -2
'cause they're
because they're
behemoth.
behemoth.
The
Against
problem,
anything
I
that
will
isn't a
say for
behemoth.
them though, like they do have no save of any kind.
They got 5 up, they've got heavy armour.
Do they?
Yep, scaly skin under equipment.
And still
Counts
toughness
as heavy
5,
armour.
which is
Still
tough.
toughness 5.
Fair.
They've
I know
gained
it's
the
tough
wound.
five, yeah.
And
really
and on
like
a
them.
much smaller base, a base that's much more
Yeah.
manoeuvre. No, a much smaller base than this.
Oh, than the
than
spider.
the spider
Yeah, yeah,
makes
yeah.
them much more manoeuvrable and much
Well,
harder
I
to
get
kind
their
of
better, yeah, but
So
I
and that's the
really
problem
like
again.
anglers.
I
I
look
think
at them
they're
and
so
think like
good.
when you look at like competing in the slot, where am I going to spend the points?
Yeah.
This is where the spider needed to be cheaper.
Yeah.
Or needed a bit more, bit of something.
Yeah, that's fair. They're not as manoeuvrable as sort of random movers were, because you can't just spin them in any direction and then move them. You
90
do have to wheel.
degrees. Do they get a free?
No.
Do they get the free
Open
90
order
degree
do at the
wheel?
end of their movement, but these are close order, so they don't. So you just have to wheel them. So it does make them a bit harder to actually move around and hit stuff. But, you know, I think you can get around that. For 95
I
points.
think you phantom, didn't you? You have a few of them.
Yeah.
You phantom. Seems very strong.
Or have sort of one on each end of your battle line and sort of angle them in.
Angle them in.
Yeah.
They're very strong. They're
Yeah,
very
big fan of the Mangler Squigs. For still dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Big,
Next
big
up
fan.
is the Giants.
Yes, Gigante.
The Giganta.
The Gigante.
So we've done giants in other videos, but
yeah.
we will do it again. But we'll probably do a bit of a flash out version because you all can read. Movement 6, weapon skill 3, strength and toughness 6, 6 wounds. So up to his toughness in this set of rules really strong. Initiative 2, but that means a lot less when you get the extra for charging.
Yeah.
Leadership 10, massive. 200 points. So again feels. When I look at monsters, he feels good for 200
Yeah.
points.
Yeah,
he feels
about that.
very solid. Behemoth, so he's D6 stomp attacks, very spicy, are at -2, and at strength 6, which is very
Yeah.
hot. He's got the Giant's Club and the Calloused Hide, so he actually has light armour now, cheeky.
Yeah.
So he's close order, he's got his giant attacks, he's immune psych, which is nice, he's a large target, he's unbreakable now.
Yeah.
So, again, massive. Got to kill him got to really kind of kill him
He's
to
only
the
got a
man.
6 up save though.
Yeah, he's T6 though, isn't he? That's
He's
the problem.
T6, very good.
That is quite a magical toughness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pick up hand still exists. He's got timber. He falls over, and he causes terror,
Yeah.
which is a really powerful rule, as we discussed. It's arguably better than it was in previous sets of rules, and it's
Definitely, I'd
always
say so,
been,
yeah.
in
Yeah,
my
you can
opinion,
still-
very powerful.
You can still flee on the charge from terror, can't you?
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
you get
Yeah,
this
and
extra
you get the
bump
extra
of
minus
damage.
one in
yeah,
combat.
very strong.
I like it.
So instead of attacking normally during a combat phase, a giant may make a pick up hand attack.
Mhm.
I mean, it doesn't have attacks; it's got a star, right? So to make a giant attack, an enemy.
Start again.
Sorry. Instead of
He's
attacking
taking two.
normally during the combat phase, or making a pick-up hand. So you can go for a pick-up hand
Yep.
or a giant attack. Sorry, and I'm in giant attacks. So if you go for a giant attack, you nominate an enemy unit that the giant is engaged in combat with to be the target of the attack, and then you roll on a table.
Yep.
On a 1, you headbutt them. A single lone enemy model is picked out. The model must be in the fighting rank of the enemy unit that the giant is engaged with, but doesn't have to be in base contact by the looks.
Nope.
So it could be a character. The model is hit, taking D3+1 wounds with no armour or regen. That is vile.
Disgusting.
You can belly flop them. You put the small blast with the centre hole directly over the unit. Any model, friend or foe, but not the giant itself, whose base lies underneath, risks being hit. That risks being hit is unfortunately the thing that makes it a lot less good, because it's the partials and the bigger bases have really hurt
It
that.
is strength 6 AP2 though.
It is strength 6
really
AP2.
nice.
So it'll probably kill whatever it hits.
Mighty Swing though, 3 to 4, it gets spicy now. For this attack, the giant has random attacks, D6 plus 1. At strength 7, -2.
Yeah, he's got to roll to hit,
He does have to roll to hit, but
potentially devastating.
Thump with club.
This is hilarious.
This one is you nominate a single enemy model in a fighting rank again.
Bonk it.
For this
Yes,
attack, the
bonk on
giant's
the
club
end.
has a strength of 10 and a -4 AP with D6 wounds. So this is basically the same as the enemy surge attack, but without the poison. And better strength.
We
better
get
strength,
it, mate. You done only Ragnarok.
And better AP.
I was just commenting on the fact that it's another thing
But
that
no
has,
strikes first.
because one of the things
But
that
no strikes
you were
first.
saying was there isn't much that has that high strength multiple D6 attack. So
I'm wrong. It's okay.
I was making a point that there's the giant can do that, but it's random, so you might not
that's
get
the
it.
sad side of it.
Jump up and down. So this one is the enemy unit just takes D6 plus 1 hits.
Yep.
File.
Strength 6, no
Strength
arm saves.
6, no arm saves.
Yeah,
you get
really
water
good.
breathing.
That really good.
The fact that I can do that to big stuff now, because there's no kind of
Yeah.
chart for big stuff and chart for little stuff,
Yeah.
is mental. That's very scary.
Yeah.
And then pick up and is the other option. Instead of attacking normally or using the giant attacks we just talked about, I can go for a pick up and, but this only affects regular infantry, heavy infantry. To make a pickup and I nominate an enemy unit or of regular or heavy infantry the giant is engaged with, they must take an initiative test. If they fail, the victim is picked up by the giant. What happens next is not really something we want to discuss here. It's a bit unpleasant, but they're dead. If the again could be a character.
Yeah.
If the test is passed, the warriors manage to duck or dodge, but no dip. So they're only doing 2 of the sacred 3 for dodgeball.
5 Ds of dodgeball.
The grasping hands. No one is picked up and the attack has no effect. That's a bit of a shame. So you're going to want to really think about when you use this. You're probably looking at low initiative.
Yes.
Or
but-
late game for a big moment.
Yeah.
Next you roll a d6. On a 1 to 3, the giant has forgotten what he's doing. And he sort of stops attacking. On a roll of a 4+, he goes again.
Yep.
And this can continue until the entire unit is destroyed. If he wants to just sort of
If he just
pick
keeps
up
rolling
on-
for
grab
us,
them and bag them.
Yeah.
Enemy models removed from play are considered to have been removed from the fighting rank first, and then you can of course stomp afterwards.
So you take an initiative test, pick up a model, it's destroyed.
Yeah.
Yep.
On a 4+, you do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing against stuff like trolls.
Yep.
And things like that.
No, it doesn't work against them because they're
Oh,
not
they're
regular
monstrous.
or heavy.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, yeah, cool.
But where it's really strong is like your Chaos
Are
Chosen.
they monstrous or monstrous
They're in shit
infantry?
like
Are trolls monstrous or
Monstrous
monstrous
infantry, which it doesn't work against. It's
It's not
regular
work-
or heavy infantry.
Oh, yeah, that's
They are good initiative though, they're 4.
4. Are they
5
still
if you
4?
Sinesh them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what you're going to really use that against.
Dwarf infantry don't like it.
Yeah.
You're probably going to only kill 2 though.
It's characters though. You go your Thane's initiative 3, 50% of the time I squash him every time.
And if I don't, 50% of the time I can try
I
again.
can try again. it's to get a key character
Yeah.
and
But yeah, I
stomp the
suppose
rest of
that's
the
the
unit
thing.
off.
It
Yeah.
doesn't have to kill the model. You can just
Yeah,
You
if
can
he
pick
fails.
you can just keep rolling the 4
Yeah.
and keep making that character take 10.
Yep.
So he's very viable to giant now. Very
Yeah.
viable, and particularly where artillery's come down in damage, and the he's gone up a toughness as well, has really helped him.
Yeah.
So
And got a cheeky little armor save as well.
yep, we like him now. He's well worth
Much
taking,
Yeah.
better than he was, for sure.
which is cool because he's an iconic figure.
Yeah, on to the war machines.
Let's do it.
So there's 3 of them. You've got bolt throwers, which is a bolt thrower, 45 points. So all of these, I think, all of these can have an alt bully, which we'll get onto after. But yeah, bolt thrower, 45 points. I mean, it's a bolt thrower. It's ballistic skill 3. It's all right. Doom divers, they're 95 points. So it's sort of shoots a bit like a stone thrower, a little bit. When you shoot a Doom Diver catapult, you follow the bombardment special rule. Once step 2 scatter is complete, you may roll a d3 and move the 3-inch blast template by that many inches in any direction, representing the Doom Diver wildly flapping its arms to guide its erratic flight. Should you choose to fire a Doom Diver catapult indirectly, the skill of the crew has no bearing on the accuracy of the shot. If a hit is rolled on the scatter dice, use the small arrow above the hit symbol to determine direction of scatter as usual. Then move the template a number of inches equal to the roll on the artillery dice, minus d3 to a minimum of 0. representing the efforts of the Doom Diver to steer its flight.
It used to be D6, didn't it?
It did used to be D6, yes.
Yeah, not as good as they were.
Yeah. No. Not as good as
No.
What's the strength from these days?
They're just a stone thrower now. He's
Yeah.
the same as a regular stone thrower. So
Oh.
I think it's 9 under the hull and then 3 on everything else.
Yeah, I think so.
No, 8 under the hull and
8,
3 on
3.
everything else. Minus 2 under the hull, or minus 3 under the hull, minus 1 or minus none of
It's
yours.
minus none.
They've
Yeah.
really taken a hit.
Yes.
With the D3
hugely.
rooms.
They've
And
gone
D3
from being
D3,
two in
yeah.
basically 2 in every competitive army to
Yeah,
really,
probably not.
if you're probably not going to take any.
No.
Well,
Don't think so.
I'm just not sure why I would pay the extra points to not take a rock lobber, which is a stone thrower exactly the same,
Yeah.
but it's toughness 6 with 4 wounds instead of
Instead
being
of
toughness
toughness 5
5 with
with
3
3
wounds.
wounds.
And it's 20 points less.
Yeah, all you're losing out on is the D3 scatter it back.
Yeah, which a
You
third
are
of the time I'll
correction.
hit,
Yeah.
and then the D3 scatter back a third of the time will only be an inch.
But
you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you're missing on the scatter, but if you're still shooting indirectly, the D3 scatter, and you, with the rock lobber, you would use the cruise weapon skill,
That's
whereas
the
you
skill,
whereas
which is
yeah,
three.
so whereas
Which is
you
three.
don't with the Doom Diver. So
Yeah.
if you're shooting indirectly,
The
in
rock
reality
lobber
you're
is
as
better.
consistent with the rock lobber.
Yeah.
So it's only if you
more consistent
And-
because you're free
yeah.
at the time.
And you're going to be shooting indirectly most of the time
Yeah.
because of the line of sight.
So you look at it and just go, well, I don't know why I would. 20 points less. Why do I not?
Yeah.
take a rock
Yeah, his
lobber?
points are very strange to me.
Yeah. Orc Bullies then, which all of them can take for 10 points. It's a special type of character that can be taken as an upgrade to accompany a war machine. During deployment, position an Orc Bully with its war machine as you would a character that's joined a unit. Once placed, an Orc Bully cannot leave its war machine. Unless this model is fleeing, friendly war machines that are within its command range can use this model's leadership instead of their own, which is leadership 7.
As
It's
opposed
really
to the
nice.
4
As
of
opposed
all
to
the
the
war
leadership
machines.
4 of the goblins,
Really
which
nice
is
for
quite
10
nice.
points.
Yeah, it's not bad. Because you could put 1 and
You
get
put
quite
one,
a
I was
lot
going
in
to
the
say
7
you can
inch
take
range.
by one bully, yeah.
Yeah.
And
For
then-
7 inch range.
And you don't have to
is
worry about them being within like 6 and making stuff panic now because they don't have a big enough unit strength. So
No.
you can just put them next to each other.
They all fear elves and they're all skirmishers as well, just as a point.
because they're goblins.
I don't hate I think the bolt throwers are probably the one I'd go for.
Yeah, because they're
um,
nice and cheap as well.
They're very cheap, yeah, and
Yeah.
one bully could look after
45
3 without
points.
any
Ain't
problem.
bad. They lost the old roller 1 to hit and they blow up. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So they're actually
which I quite
solid
liked,
now.
but yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it, but they're solid now.
I think they're very solid. You get
Yeah.
them on a hill with a bully, and
Mm.
I think 3 of them could be quite scary.
Yeah.
So, on that bombshell,
Yeah,
we're
that's
through
it
the
for
units,
units.
and there's quite a lot for orcs and goblins, so we've waded our way through.
Yeah.
So let's get stuck in
Magic
to
arms.
the shiny stuff, as it was once known to me, or as it's slightly more uniformly and, dare I say, boringly known now, Orcs and Goblin Tribes, Magic Arms. Correct, factually correct, all the way.
So we're starting with the magic weapons standard. Now the first one, 75 points. The battle axe of the last big war. It's strength +2, -2 AP. Extra attacks D6, magical attacks, requires 2 hands, strikes last. Notes, if a natural roll of a 6 is rolled for the extra attacks, the battle axe of the last big war loses the extra attacks plus D6 special at the end of the combat phase.
It's this close to being good.
Yeah.
Like, it's this close.
It's already
to
got the
being good.
massive negative of having strikes last.
Yeah.
Requiring 2 hands, so you can't have a shield with it.
Yep.
But you could get past that if you
could
couldn't
get past
when you
it.
rolled the really good
The
turn.
good result.
You
not
know that
then
when you
lose
charge,
its big benefit.
When you charge that unit of like 10 Illyrian Reavers, that's
Yeah.
when you're going to roll a 6.
Even better,
and then
when
lose
you
it.
charge like 3 Illyrian Reavers
Yeah.
that have been
Yeah.
shot by your bows.
So,
It could be one of the best items in the game, but for me instead it becomes 75 points of massive risk because if as
Yeah.
soon as you roll that 6 and it's
Yeah.
against something tosh, you are paying 75 points for strikes last, -1 arm save effectively because you can't have a shield with it,
Yeah.
and plus your strength -2 AP.
I'm
Yeah.
also.
it's just
it's just
just
a
it's a
great
magical
weapon.
great weapon.
yeah.
I've got to
With no
say
armor bane.
that with no armor bane, and I've got to say I'm giving up the outrageous Initiative 6 on my Black Hawk War Boss.
Yeah.
He didn't wear that blindfold and have people throw stuff at him for months for nothing. I don't want to take that away.
No.
Interestingly, when we did the Chaos one, I'm just going to mention that we did the Demon Sword.
Mhm.
I used that in a couple of games afterwards, and I was like, actually, really good, because I put it on a dude on his own,
Yeah.
on a demonic mount, and I was like, he's a 75-point dude on a demonic mount,
Yeah.
and he's got a good armor save. And he took 1 wound all game from it, and he absolutely wrecked like 2 units of Chaos Dwarves on his own. He was a
Yeah.
machine. I was really impressed. This won't do that though, because when I roll the big numbers, I lose my ability. I'm going last. It's just not good. I'm
And
sorry.
It's not even like you get a choice to roll for the extra attacks. It's not like if like 4 skirmishers charge you, and you go, you know what? I don't
I
need the
think my
extra
5
attacks. I
attacks will
think I'll
probably be
leave
enough.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
my 5 attacks plus probably my
It's a
withen
shame.
will probably do it. But you've got to roll it, and you know that's when you're going to roll the 6, and it's just
Yeah,
gonna be a
that's
waste
it,
of
mate.
points.
It's always the way.
Yeah.
Porco's Pig Sticker, 40
What a great
points. Strength +1, -1 AP, Armor Bane 1. Models whose troop type is Cavalry, Monster, or Chariot only. This weapon's strength and armor piercing value applies only during the first round of combat. In addition, during the turn in which the wielder charged, Porco's Pig Sticker grants them +1 attack for each enemy rank the enemy unit has.
That's
So-
not bad. So you
I
don't
think
have
it's
to
solid for
charge to
40
get the extra
points.
strength and AP.
No,
which
so
is
it's,
quite
yeah,
nice.
so it's +1 strength and AP, -1 and armor bane 1 all the time. And on the
No,
chart,
no, no.
First round of combat.
It's +1 strength,
Yeah,
-1
sorry,
AP in the first round. Armor bane all the time.
yeah.
It's a souped up cavalry spear.
Yeah, basically.
And when you charge, you get +1 attack for each rank in the enemy unit.
Yeah.
But you get +1 attack because everyone's one rank.
No.
No, I think you probably average +2, maybe +3.
Yeah, I'd
That's
probably say
probably
not
about
bad for
right.
40
But I
points.
do think you're
No.
going to see more and more lines, and I do think this will
I
get less and
don't
less useful.
think you are going to see.
I just don't think
points,
you're going to
I
see a
don't
lot of
know.
depth because I only ever get +2.
You might not
rest
see
for
depth,
ranks.
but I don't think you're gonna. I just this mythical everything's gonna be
I don't know.
20 models wide. I've not even seen it yet, mate.
Oh, I don't
So-
know if I'm saying everything's
No.
going to be. I'm saying you're going to get less deep and more wide. You're not going to get more depth. There seems to be no good reason to ever have more depth.
We'll see.
I think
Because
certain units get benefits, like horde units. You'll
yeah,
see
horde units.
3,
you
maybe
will.
4 deep.
I just don't see me ever paying 40 points for it.
It is quite a lot of points. It
Yeah,
is
it's
quite a
not
lot of
terrible, but yeah.
points.
Now we get on to
It
what
also
I
doesn't
think
have
is-
enough penetration for that.
No.
Let's be clear. Beyond the first round of combat, and if I follow up because you gave ground,
Yeah.
that's now there. I've got no AP.
Yeah.
What am I paying 40 points for? Biting blades -2, -3, -2 with armor bane, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's way better for my strength.
But
higher strength.
Again,
war
5
boss.
points less, mate, for what is probably the best magic weapon in the book.
Yes.
The choppiest chopper.
Yes.
35 points, +1 strength, -3 AP.
I'm actually going to go further than this. I think this is a contender for the best magic weapon in the game.
Yeah, so do I.
At 35 points, it's insane.
Outrageously cheap.
Basically, a lot of unit champions can take it. Is it?
No,
it's 35, isn't it?
but
so it's a bit big.
The reality with this bad boy is my strength 6 now.
Yeah.
Black Orc War Boss has -3 to your save. He's a machine,
Ridiculous,
and he's
yeah.
paid no points for it. So I've still got 65 points to max out on all of his nice kind of surviving gear. If
I mean, you
want.
haven't. You've got 25 points because you're buying the trial by trousers.
Well, but
obviously.
even then, I've got 25 points still after
Yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
to really throw some useful dice in.
Oh, yes.
That is a wicked item.
Oh, it's
that
so good.
Ogre Blade, they're maybe Monster Slaying Sword because of the meta rather than because it's good.
Yeah.
Those are probably the best items around at the moment.
Yeah.
Biting Blade's a very good sword if you start with good strength,
Yeah.
but it's not
Yeah.
great for like elves or really
Yeah,
Empire.
men,
But it's
yeah.
very good for your Beastmen. It's very good for your Chaos.
Warriors, chaos. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that for me is probably up
Yeah,
there. That's
so
good on
good.
anyone.
Yes.
So good.
That's good on anyone in the
Yeah.
game. That's a brilliant item.
Yeah. Then final magic item, Wallopers One Hit Wonder.
This is top man's.
Great
Yes.
weapon. It's Night Goblin, Goblin and Night Goblin bosses only, single use. Once per game during the first round of combat, the wielder of this weapon can use it with this profile. All other times, this weapon counts as a hand weapon with magical attacks. But for that one time you're using it, you are strength 10, -3 AP, strikes first.
So let me tell you that there's been a bit of a thing here where
15 points!
people have used the wizard
So good!
Yeah.
with the Goblin War Boss, and then put him on illusion so that you can get Spectre Doppelganger, and then that first combat he goes in and he's like 2d6 hits, strength 10, -3, wow!
Yeah, really good. Really
Quite
good.
But it's a bit kind of
That's very, like, you've got to get very lucky to get Spectre.
well, I think
Doppelganger
some
out.
people have argued that I can then take the Power Familiar, which I've got just enough
Lore
points to the Lore Familiar
Yeah.
to get the to pick the spell, but I'm not sure you can. I think there's some wording questions over arcane
Yeah.
items, but yeah,
There's also
it's
The thing is though,
Some-
you put on a Night Goblin War Boss, he's got 4 attacks. 4 attacks at strength 10, -3.
This is one of those
Really
times
good.
where I'm like, I think Paymaster's Coin is pretty rubbish, but this is one of those times where
Yeah.
Paymaster's
Yeah.
Coin is probably worth it, rerolling all my hits that turn.
Yeah.
The
to
only
really give
the
a
thing
wallop
is
of
that
filth.
it really for me needs to be on like something with like a giant squig, because if it's in a unit,
Yeah.
you just charge the other end of the unit and it counts
And
that's
he's
his
got one
first
attack.
round of combat
Yeah.
and he's lost it.
That's the thing. That's the wording question here. Once per game during the first round of combat. So does that force you to use it the first time he's in combat?
Oh, well, yeah. If he's in a fighting rank.
No, but it says once per game during the first round of combat.
So is that the
if he's in
first round of any combat, or his first round of combat in the game?
Because it doesn't. It's not.
Well, wording would suggest that if I charge a Mangler Squeak, he loses that ability. But but I think it's clearly he's
during the first round of combat. I mean, it's a little bit ambiguous.
No, because it says the wielder can use this weapon with its profile.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's ambiguous at all.
No, but it's
I
whether
think
it's the first time that character gets into combat, he
or
has
the
to
first
use
round
it,
of a combat,
or the first round of any combat that character gets into.
Single use once per game during the first round of combat.
during the first round of combat. Is that the very
First
first round of
his
the
first
first
round of
combat,
of his
or is it
character.
the first round of any combat? I
Yeah.
can go, I'm not going to use it now. 2 turns down the road
Yeah.
when you charge me with your Necrosphinx. Guess what? It's time for a walloping.
That is a question for the FAQ.
That's
You'll see that in 6 months' time.
unexplained fires matter for the corpse.
Really strong note. I definitely think you're going to see it all the time.
15 points.
Yeah, I
15
think you'll
points
see it
on
because it's
a
15
character
points.
on like a squeak. You're laughing,
Yeah.
mate.
Can a regular orc boss take it?
No, Goblin or Night
Goblin,
boss.
yeah.
Goblin on night.
Got brilliant. So I can take a goblin big boss, stick him on a giant wolf, give him wallopers one hit
Yeah.
wonder, and I've literally spent like 59 points.
Yeah.
For a missile.
For an absolute cannonball, mate. Yeah, really strong.
The goblin missile, Swift Stride, movement 9.
Yeah.
He's literally catapulting him from next to a skirmishing unit of wolf riders for the
Yeah. Really
That
good.
is amazing.
So magic armor.
360 maybe.
Yeah, that's really good. Magic armor. We have the first, and I mean it's extremely common, and it's extrememely common for a
It's
reason
just
because you're going to
outrageous.
see them on every single character.
Yep.
It's Trollhide trousers, 40 points, may be worn with other armor. The wearer of the Trollhide trousers improves their armor value by 1 to a maximum of a 2+. In addition, the wearer has the regen 5+ special rule.
So good.
40 points for regen and +1 armor.
So good.
And it's extremely common, so you can have it on every character if
Yep.
you want. But
And
yeah.
It's great.
in a game where actually there's not a lot that just flat adds 1 to your armor save.
No,
Really,
not really.
really
and
good.
And the fact is very common as well. Everyone that can do it generally gets one item that can do it.
Yep.
Rather than getting lots of items that
Yeah.
can do it.
Tomb Kings have got 1, but Tomb Kings have got 2, I think. 1 in the Arcane Journal, 1 in the
That
core
adds to your
rulebook.
armour.
That adds to your armor save, but it's really
Have they?
expensive. I think they do.
I
Yeah.
don't think they do, mate. High elves have got 1.
Oh,
And
so
then
you've got
there's the
the
bedazzling
common
helm.
one, you've got the Bedazzling Helm.
You've got the common one.
I
No,
think
they
that's
might
the-
not have it actually.
I think that's the
No,
only
you
two
don't.
I
No, they
know.
don't have it. I think
Brett's-
they've got one in. I'm pretty sure they've got
Brett's
one
have
in
got
the.
Grommet
You've
Great
got
Helm.
Bromwell Great Helm.
I'm pretty sure they've got one in the Arcane Journal.
I think there's
But
like
it's really
3 or 4
expensive.
in the whole game.
There's really
mate.
not a lot.
And this, but like maybe 5 with this one. And Trollhide Trousers,
He's clearly the best
he's
one.
also giving me regen.
Yeah.
And I can have it loads.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
outrageously.
Well, I don't really get why it's extremely common.
No, I don't get why it's common either.
We've said this before, I don't know if I've said it on a video, but I do think that the extremely common mechanic is going to be something that starts to be a challenge for the game. Because I think there's some stuff that kind of, you know, like, oh, well, a Sword of Might's very common, Dispel Scroll's very common. You kind of go, yeah, I sort of get that, because,
Yeah,
you know,
don't mind
they're
that.
everywhere, and
Yeah.
it's not difficult to brew like a bottle of potion, everyone can brew a potion
Yeah,
speed,
yeah.
it's not tough, that's very common. But things like this, like the Seed of Rebirth, the very common element to them is going to create some really kind of
Could you take
power
2
dynamics.
sets of Trollhide trousers on one man?
Yes.
Wouldn't give you regen 3+, but
No,
would
but
give
it
you
does
+2
give
to
you
your armor.
+2 to your armor save
Yeah.
if you wanted
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's the way to get round potentially the. No, it's not. Don't listen to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Way to get around
Nothing. It's 80 points. No, but I mean, yeah. I mean, Trollhide trousers sick. You can
Yes.
see what's on.
Yeah. Yes, you are.
As for the armour of Mork, 30
Uh,
points for Magic Res 2. It's also a suit of heavy armour. Yeah, I mean, it counts for his unit, but
It's okay because
alright.
it's not bad on you're looking at your goblin-y characters here.
Yeah.
Like a goblin war boss, for example,
Mm.
could take the armour of Mork and the Trollhide trousers
Yeah, good.
and a shield, and if you put him on a spider, he's got a 12 save
yeah.
and a 5-up regen.
And
Yeah.
he's,
Has he got
Spiders
top
aren't
save
high
as
as
well? Oh, is the spider on high?
Yeah.
oh, they didn't think spiders.
The giant spiders are.
Oh, the giant spiders. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
or you could stick him in a unit and be like, he's got a 3-up and a 5-up. I know he's still a goblin, but he's got a 3-up, 5-up. He's got Magic Res 2, which is positive for his unit. And you know what's in his hand, don't you, boys and girls? He's got a 1-up-1-hit wonder.
Yeah,
He's so ready
there's
for
a lot.
you.
There's stuff you can do. But I just think Magic Res 2 is. I think.
I think 2 is pretty good. 1.
2's solid.
You're not
seems
paying for the
underwhelming.
heavy armour.
No, you're not.
Because Magic Res is now 20 points,
20
a
points.
token in the book.
Is it?
Yeah, in the main
Oh,
book.
okay.
So,
So
you
actually
pay
it's
40
not
points
that
for
bad
MR2,
price.
and
Yeah.
you can pay 30
Especially
and
as it
get free
affects
heavy
his
armor. I
whole
don't hate
unit.
it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it at all.
No.
No. Talismans.
Yeah, I quite like this first talisman actually, the glowy green amulet.
Me too.
35 points. The bearer, if the bearer and any unit they have joined is the target of an enemy spell, they may use the glowy green amulet instead of making a wizardly dispel attempt. Roll a d6. On a roll of a 2+, the spell is dispelled. However, if a 1 is rolled, the glowy green amulet explodes. The amulet is destroyed and cannot be used, and the bearer loses a single wound. Note that the glowy green amulet cannot be used against a perfect invocation. So you have to be able to make a wizardly dispel to then use the glowy green amulet. But 83 and a bit % of the time, you just dispel spell.
Well, what's really good about this is that actually it's a little bit different. This could be you could hit me from a very long range away. I don't think there's anything that's got enough range to be in hitting my unit. Oh, I suppose if I was a really long line again.
Yeah.
If I was a really long line and you target the other end, and it's not like a wizardly dispel range. It's if the bearer's unit is targeted by a spell, they can make a wizardly dispel. So the wizard could be like 40 inches away.
Yeah, the unit
and I
can use
still
the
make
glowy
it.
green amulet. It says any unit they have joined is the target of the enemy spell. They may use the glowy green amulet instead of making a wizardly dispel.
Yeah, so
as long
you
as
have to
they're
be
in range
able
of
to make a wizardly dispel.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
It's instead of a
It's
wizardly
instead
Yes,
of
dispel.
exactly. So if you don't have the option of making a wizardly dispel, you can't use the glowy green amulet.
But the unit
A
can
war
use
boss, a war boss doesn't have that option because he's not a wizard. So can he not use it?
No, there is an argument to say that's what it means, but I would say if you as the player cannot make a wizardly dispel with one of your wizards somewhere, you can't use the glowy green amulet.
I've got no idea. how you've got
I
that
think
from
you
that.
can.
If
I
the
think-
bearer
If they're an
and
target
their
of an enemy
unit
spell,
is targeted
fine.
by an enemy spell,
That's fine. They may use the glowy green amulet instead of making a wizardly dispel attempt.
Yeah.
If they can't make a wizardly dispel attempt, they can't use something instead of doing
that is lawyering hard.
No,
That's
I
lawyering hard.
disagree.
But that means that I've got to have a
Myself.
wizard in my army that's got to be in range of the enemy that's
Yes.
casting the spell to do it, or
Yes.
I've not used my fated dispel.
I
No, 'cause
would
fate is
agree.
different to a wizardly dispel.
I would
Oh,
agree
yeah,
with
right,
you if it didn't say and any unit that have joined.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's the
another
break
one for
point.
That's another one for an FAQ.
If it didn't say and any unit they joined, I'd say fair enough. But a unit they have joined physically can't make a wizardly dispel. So the argument would be that if you target the unit,
That's why I don't think
myself,
that unit
I
or
disagree.
model has to make a wizardly dispel. I just think you as the player have to be able to make a wizardly dispel.
I
Yeah,
disagree.
I'm not sure on that. That's I see your point. I do. I see what you're saying. I don't think it's the intention, but again, the wording there is ambiguous. What's up?
Because I think the dwarf rune of spellbreaking is worded the same. It's instead of making a wizardly
But
dispel,
that's a dispel
you
scroll,
auto
isn't
dispel
it?
it.
But that's like a dispel
Well, it's
scroll.
old school dispel scroll. Yeah.
You've got that makes sense to me.
But that's
because
the
you've
same
got to be in
wording.
range.
It's instead of making a wizardly dispel. You have to be able to make a wizardly dispel to instead use the scroll.
I would agree,
Yeah,
except for I think the
that's
fact that does the dwarf one say and any unit they have joined.
Well, no, because it's not to do with the target of the spell.
And I think that is the important part.
Okay,
is
that's
that
fair enough.
it's,
Yeah, I don't know, I
That's
think-
me personally.
Yeah,
I think any unit they have
wizardly
joined
dispels
is
is
where
a-
it's at. But
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, you probably want to have a wizard to try and avoid arguments. So you guys, probably the best way around that. Just make sure you've got a wizard and try and keep him in range, so there's no argument over that one. But
I still think it's a very good item.
I think
I
it's decent.
still think you're still going to see it all the time.
Yeah.
On a 2+, you just ignore any spell that's not.
Again, it goes
perfectly
nicely
involved
with the
against
armour
you.
of magic res as well. You can make that unit
Yeah.
feel really difficult to cast spells on if you
Yeah.
want to kind of have that
Or
style.
spread out your magic protection.
I don't think I'd put the magic res in there. I think it's a waste.
I think
It's
if
a 2+,
you're,
you just mug it off.
I've said this a few times now. I think if you're an infantry heavy army, your only option in this set of rules, certainly at the moment, and I don't know if that will change based on the way it is to have a really big unit with loads of stuff in it.
Okay.
Like if you want an infantry unit that wins,
Yeah.
you need a really big unit with
It's a
loads
Death
of
Star
loads of
unit.
characters. You need Death Stars
Yeah.
because monsters will just eat the monster characters just eat you.
Eat the front row.
Right, they just
Yeah.
eat you for fun if you're not a star. The blocks of cavalry will go through you very quickly if you're not a
Decent
star.
size, yeah. Decent size
Particularly because they'll almost certainly make you fall back in good order after the first round. And so then they'll get their lances and they'll push
Yeah.
you a long way away. So actually, the star is the thing you need. You need that ability to push back. But yeah, that's an interesting one. I think you've got a point there. But let's move on. Collar of Zorga.
Zorga, 20 points. And any enemy beast of burden that directs its attacks against the wearer of the Collar of Zorga or their unit during the combat phase suffers a -1 modifier to its rolls to hit. For the purposes of this rule, beast of burden is the mount of any model whose troop type is cavalry. the beast that draw any model whose troop type is chariot, and the mount of any mounted character whose troop type is monster. So it's not unridden monsters, because it's specifically the mount of any mounted character.
20 points to have -1 to hit against mounts.
Yeah, horses, dragons being the big one.
Yeah.
Stuff that pulls chariots. Probably wouldn't bother with it.
I probably would spend 20 points.
It's got
on
potential on something. If you're building something to be a monster killer, it's got some potential.
Yeah, but generally the monster isn't what does the killing.
Isn't it?
On
a dragon's it is.
Dragons is, yeah.
Other than the council,
generally,
yeah.
other than the council,
Yeah,
the
on a-
dragons
on
are
a-
the big hitters.
Well, a high elf maybe.
And a
Tomb
wood
King
elf.
and a Tomb King.
And a dark elf.
And
And a Tomb King, really.
Yeah,
the Tomb
okay,
King's not
maybe.
that killy. He doesn't
Yeah,
have a lot
but
of
neither does
penetration.
dragon.
Dragon's
Strength
strength 6
6
-2.
4 attacks?
6 attacks.
6 attacks.
And then
dragon.
D6
Bone
stop.
Dragon's 6
with-
Yeah,
attacks,
that's not so good.
with
But
the-
obviously it doesn't affect the stop.
No.
Because they all
No, the dragons and the dragon's low weapon skill is really rough against that dragon actually. But I mean, I don't think I'd take it.
No.
I think that's probably, if you were going to take it, that's where I see its mileage.
Yeah.
But I don't
Yeah,
think
fair.
I would take it. I think you're right. I think it's a leave at home.
Yeah.
Banners though, I think they've got some good
Sorry,
ones.
Bone Dragons are
Yes.
5 attacks. Not 6.
5 attacks.
But still get 5.
Yeah, I really like this first banner. The big red raggedy flag for 50
Yeah,
points.
really good.
Really pleased.
Unit carrying this has +1 modifier to its weapon skill characteristic, massive. In addition, when calculating its combat result, the unit may claim an additional bonus of +1.
It's brilliant.
So it's a
+1 weapon
25-point
skill.
war banner?
Plus on weapon
I think,
skill.
or 30
plus
point
1
war banner?
combat res.
The war banner's 25.
25.
So
So
I'm
for 25
paying
points.
25
25
points
points
of
I get
plus
+1
on
weapon
skill.
skill on my entire unit.
And anyone that's adjoined to that
Yep.
unit. So again, we're back to this conversation about, do I want a star? Well, actually, I probably do want a star.
With that flag.
I'm incentivised to have the star. Thank you for my weapon skill 5 Black Orcs.
Yeah.
They were just so broken though, they had to stop, they had to take away the magic
Stars?
to stop stars.
Stars were broken,
Because
but-
they had to get rid of the magic that stopped them.
Yeah, well, the
That was
magic,
the issue.
the magic was the
Yeah.
problem. Yeah.
That was the problem.
That was the problem, not the stars. War banner. Let's give this one a go. A unit carrying a war banner increases its possible charge range by 3. When it makes the charge, it adds D3. I think this looks really good on paper, but actually doesn't translate to being that good in
No, I don't
itself.
think it's very good.
Because if it added 3, but then modified by D6 like Swift Stride, I think it'd be good.
But
But
you can stack
it'd be
it with
better.
Swift Stride.
you can, but
So
and
Swift Stride, you could get your maximum charges plus 6 inches, and then your charge is 2d6 plus d6 plus d3.
that would mean that you could declare a 19-inch charge with Borbos. But that doesn't always, and you do re-roll it, which is good. But
Yeah.
that doesn't always help you when
no,
you're
but
impetuous.
we've spoke about the
That's-
the equivalent
that's the issue.
impetuous, so
Yeah.
you know.
If it
There's a
wasn't
lot
on a
of
unit,
impetuous quell, so
there is. If it's on a unit that isn't impetuous, then I think it's only a good thing because the maximum declarable charge range doesn't massively matter. It's just you add D3 to your charge, which is really good. But the fact it's probably going to be on something that's impetuous, I think I'd always leave this banner at home.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the plus D3 for me that does
Yeah.
it, not the plus D6 that
Yeah.
probably mean it. I just think 40 points, I just wouldn't. However, the next one, the banner of butchery,
Also very good.
35 points,
Mm.
I would have almost all of the time.
Yes.
yeah.
Um,
Strength, really good.
Yeah.
The turn they charge, a little bit disappointing, but still very good.
Put it on board
Combat, you
boys.
combat with choppers and stuff like that, like
Well, ball boy biggins, you're suddenly strength 6 with your cavalry spears on
Yep.
that turn you charge.
yeah.
Disgusting.
They're basically got a
So
lance.
good.
You
Yeah.
give them a lance. It's
Yeah.
wicked. I'm a fan of this. I think it's got a lot of versatility, and I think we haven't seen all the kind of versatility of it yet.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
it doesn't specify the mounts don't get it, all models.
No.
So, on a chariot,
Yeah.
BSB on a chariot, suddenly he's got strength 6 impact hits off the chariot.
Yeah.
But yeah,
On those ball boys, suddenly your Tuskers are strength 5 on the charge.
yeah.
Because of their Tusker charge.
So I'm a fan. I think it's a good banner. I think it's got a lot of use, and I also think the last one, Gruff's Windy Banner, also has a lot of use.
Guff's windy
sorry,
banner, not
Guff's.
Guff's. Guff.
Gruff's Windy Banner, 20 points. The banner, the unit may reroll for a panic test. You've got a lot of Goblin units that
Yep.
can take 3 magic banners. Sorry, 50-point magic banners, but
Yeah.
effectively it feels free because they've never been able to take it before. So 20 points
Yeah, not bad.
is not bad at all.
Not bad.
Particularly, that would be my wizard bunker, my bunker unit. If I had something important I wanted to say,
Yeah.
that's where that would go.
Yeah, fair. Not bad.
Enchanted items.
Big Boss's Act. 50 points.
I like this.
During the command sub-phase of the start of their turn, a character wearing the Big Boss Act that is not engaged in combat may treat their comrades to some inspiring words by making a leadership test using no leadership. If this test is passed until the start of your next turn sub-phase, this character and any unit they've joined gains the Unbreakable special rule. It's
Very
not one use, which I think
No,
makes
it's
it
every
really
turn.
good.
Very strong if you do want to run the Savage Orc thing. We talked about this before when we played a battle report with it. But I've been thinking about this more and more on different uses. My Black Orc on Wyvern is pretty scary with this. It's just finding 50 points on
It's
it.
50 points. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of your, like, all of a sudden you look at it and go, if you've got a Black Orc boss on a Wyvern, he's got that and the Troll-Eye Trousers and nothing else.
Like 10 points, yeah.
Like 10 points. Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
I think
it's
better
probably
in a unit.
it's probably better in a unit than it is out there. But I do think you could probably find some flexibility with this in terms of pinning stuff down, and stopping it from sort of forcing you back potentially. It just means you can be quite lazy with your placement.
Yeah.
When you pass that test, but I definitely think, like we said, the big units, particularly if you've got frenzied units, that's where it's going to really
How much
see
is the Wizard in hat?
50.
Ah, what a shame.
It's also
Because
enchanted.
next up we've got the Edbine hat, which is an extremely common. So my argument was, could you get the hat on hat on hat? Because you can have the double hat. You can go Big Boss's hat and the Edbine hat. Because the Edbine hat
It's
is...
extremely common. You could take 2 Edbite hats.
you could if you wanted.
You could take 3 Edbite hats and a boss hat for hat in hat in hat in hat.
Yeah, you could...
4 hats.
Yeah, you could.
Take that's in health.
An Edbine hat gives the wearer of the impact hits 1 special rule. In addition, these impact hits have the armor piercing characteristic of 2.
All of those champions that can just take a 25 point magic item,
I don't know
They
why
just
they
take
don't
the
do
Edbine
I
that.
hat.
love a bit of this.
Also, the
Yeah.
Edbine hat has an impact hit of -2. There you
Particularly
go. Have it.
those boar boys as well.
Yeah,
Those boar
yeah,
boy champions.
100%.
Really nice.
Very good.
And the last enchanted item, also extremely common, Fungus Wine. 10 points. Night character, single use during the command sub-phase of their turn. If they have not engaged in combat, this character can attempt to distribute Fungus Wine to a unit they have joined by making a leadership test using their own leadership. If the test is passed until your next start of turn sub-phase, this character and any unit they have joined gain the Immune Psych special rule.
I don't hate it, but I don't.
I just
love
think
it.
Immune Psych is only okay in this edition.
I think Immune
pretty
Sight's still
strong.
good. It's single use and you only get it for a turn.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it's only okay. You
And
yeah,
also
it
again,
is
there's
single
an
use, but you could buy lots of it. It's very
You
common.
can buy lots of it.
There's an argument to suggest that if you
the
fail the
leadership
test,
test.
if you fail the test,
You've
you
used
lose
it.
You've
the
wasted
wine.
the one.
Yeah.
But it's the point with it. I think is you.
You've got to use it on the right
test.
turn. You've got to pass the test and use it and pass the test on the right turn.
It's got to be crunch. I don't think it's going to.
And you've also got to not be in combat.
But I mean, I think overall, Orcs and Goblins have done alright on magic items. Brilliant magic sword,
Yeah.
a really good piece of armour, a decent bit of secondary armour.
Yeah.
A couple of really good enchanted items, 2 really
Couple
great
really
banners.
good banners.
The Glade Green Amulet, we still think is good. We're just going to decide exactly what we think the exact sort of spice on that is.
Yeah.
But arcane item wise, I also think they're another big winner.
Yeah.
I think they win big with 2 of these.
Yeah.
If I remember rightly, when I looked at them before.
They do have some really nice.
Glittering Whatnots, 40 points. If the bearer or their unit is targeted by an enemy spell, they may use the Glittering Whatnots instead of a wizardly dispel attempt. Roll a d6, on a roll of 1 to 3, the Glittering Whatnots have no effect. On a 4+, the spell is reflected back on a caster in their unit. They now become the target. They may then attempt to dispel their own spell. So they could, and this is top bands, they could try and cast it on you. You roll a 4+, then they could get outcast in the art by themselves.
Yes. They could also miscast casting the spell, cast it on the 8 to 9 result, which makes it cast at its base value. So they take a hit from that. They then get the 4+ reflected back at them, and then get outcast in the arts as well.
And that level 2 is dead.
Yeah.
Well, no, they would be able to, would they? Because if the spell is cast on the 8 of a dispel, it doesn't get automatically cast. I mean, you can't then try and dispel it because it was a miscast.
Oh yeah, no, they wouldn't be able to.
No,
would they?
you can. You can try and dispel it if it's on an 8 to 9. If it's on a 10 to 12, it counts as perfect invocation, which means you can't dispel
Does
it.
the
I
8
thought
not
you
say though?
couldn't.
Then say the wizard can't cast any more spells this turn. I don't know if that applies to dispel.
Yes, I think it does.
So maybe not. I don't know.
It's a mess.
Either
But
way,
either way, a good item.
it's a good
40,
item.
40
Yeah.
points, well worth taking.
crucially, not one use only.
No,
Very
every
strong.
time.
So
Yeah,
it's
every
quite
time
consistent.
You can make a wizardly dispel.
So that's nice. It's a nice one on a very low level wizard.
Yeah.
It's a nice one on like a 1 who's got an 18-inch bubble. It's just really there to protect you.
Yeah.
And again, another one that's a bit weird. The target, they may use the grit instead of. Oh, they may use it instead of making it wizardly dispel. That would suggest that they need to make the wizardly dispel, I'd say.
Yeah.
Again, we just need to clarify that because again, that means that I suppose the glitter and whatnots can only go on a wizard, so there would be a wizard in there. It's just
Buzzgob's Knobbly Staff.
Oh, well,
He's 35
good.
points.
Well,
Makes them a high elf. Once per turn, the bearer of the staff may reroll a casting roll.
Makes them high off with better combat stats.
Yeah.
they've become the thing they swore to
Unless they're a
destroy.
They become the very thing they fear themselves. So I really like that.
Yeah,
35
really
points,
nice. Yeah,
very
love it.
strong. And actually, I think I was wrong. I think it's all three that are good because I've just realised I'd forgotten about this
Yeah.
one. Idler Mork, 30 points. The bearer adds 3 to their dispel range.
Massive.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Really nice.
Once per turn, when attempting to dispel them, he rolled a dispel roll.
Really
Good.
30
Yeah.
points.
Once per turn.
Not even just one use, once per turn. Massive.
I think it's the same
And
as the
it's-
slam power.
Isn't it the
But it's
same
cheaper.
as the Wood Elf one? But you have to be within 3 of
Three
a
of a
wood,
wood, I
and
think,
it's 45 points.
Yeah, something like
It's
that.
the same as the slam one, but it's cheaper by a
Doesn't that give you-
considerable amount.
Plus to dispel as well, the Wood Elf one?
Is it
Against
plus-
like hexes or something?
Is it plus? No, I think it's just plus D3 to range reroll. Reroll one failed attempt.
Maybe,
Or it
maybe.
might be plus D3 to the range and plus 1 to the attempt.
Plus 3, yeah.
Plus
Not
3.
plus D3 to the range.
Oh, plus 3, yeah,
Plus
and
three.
plus 1 to the attempt.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. That's really good for 30 points. All 3 of those arcane items are wicked, which is good because
Yeah.
you're going to want to take lots of goblin shamans to unlock all your fanatics and make
Yeah.
sure you've got plenty of mangler squigs in your list. So on a plus, on a real negative there, guys, you're going to have to take lots of shamans that carry these really dirty items so that you can unlock the really powerful ball and chain dudes and the big squigs. I'm sorry to have brought that to your attention, but don't forget your black balls. And then we
Finally.
finish up with the magic.
Indeed.
Yes.
That's where we're going to end. We've got Law of Gork and Law of Mork. I'm very
Yeah.
disappointed that I can't say or possibly Mork because it is actually 2 separate things now.
It is.
So Gork's for orcs
Gork is for orcs.
and Mork is for goblins. That's
yes.
less exciting to say. So Gork is orcs can swap one of their spells as a signature for either the Brainburster or the Gaze of Gork. So Brainburster.
Brainburster is an assailant with a casting value of 10, range of combat obviously. A single enemy model the caster is engaged in combat with suffers a single strength 6 hit with multiple wounds D3, no armor saves or regens. That's pretty tasty.
Really good this.
Yeah.
I think it's solid. I think 10 plus is too much to make it really consistently good.
You say that though, if you're casting this, obviously you're in combat. If you're in a unit of 10 plus orcs, you're getting
Yeah,
another
plus
+1
one
to
to
cast.
Yeah,
you're going to be a
that's
level 4
quite easy.
because who doesn't
Yeah.
take level 4s? So you get
Yeah,
+5 to
definitely
cast it.
So it's not as bad. Yeah, that's
No,
true.
it's not. And
And
if,
obviously, if you're in combat with their wizard,
They can't dispel it. Yeah.
and Power Scroll is another good option with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think what I like about the thing to bear in mind with these is that I can choose to swap for them or not.
Mm.
So if I'm fighting
Yeah.
like lots of monsters or monstrousy stuff that's got lots of wounds or enemy characters in units, I'm
Yeah.
thinking I'll take this. But if I'm not, maybe I won't bother.
Yeah.
Gaze of Gork then. This one is a magic missile, a 9+ to cast, 5d6 range. You draw a 5d6 straight line from the caster's base edge. Any model, friend or foe that falls on the line take a strength 5 hit with an AP of -3.
Really good, especially on the grounds that you can put that in any direction that you want, because it just
If
says
I'm-
base edge.
Yeah, but it would have to follow the rules for magic missiles. But if I'm out
No,
of
it
a
wouldn't- it
unit, I've
wouldn't
got
though.
360 arc.
It wouldn't though, would it? It just says draw a straight line, 5 or 6 is from the caster's base edge. Rules as written, and it specifically says friend or foe, so that would argue that by the looks of it, you could chuck it behind you if you wanted, hit 3 of your own guys, but also smash up some stuff behind you.
This is from the caster's base edge, so could I point it through myself?
It says
I
it
guess
hits
if
friend
you
or
wanted
foe.
to.
It says it hits friend or
Because
foe.
I would
so-
imagine though it would still have to follow the target rules for magic missiles.
That would make sense.
But if I'm out of a unit, it's got 360.
Yeah.
It's got 360 throughout
Yeah.
the unit, but again,
So-
I think because it says just from the caster's base edge, like that's what base edge.
I think.
And again, it says hit friend or foe, so I think there definitely would be.
Yeah, but
can
you could
friends
just hit
with it.
another friendly
Yeah, you
unit.
could,
yeah.
but I think again, like that's one for the FA kit, you know. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's-
I think probably
it's
say
not-
if
it's not
he's
clear
in,
enough.
it would follow the rules for targeting.
Yeah, which
As
means
per
it has
magic
to be
missiles.
front arc.
But
that's
but if he's out of a
Probably
unit, it
not,
doesn't
right?
have to be front arc.
No.
If he's on a boar or something like that on his
Yeah.
own, it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
front arc.
Absolutely.
So
Really good,
I
though.
think that's decent.
yeah.
Is,
It's
is
not,
it a single?
Not bad.
Yeah,
It's a
single
straight
strength
line.
5 hit minus
But
3 AP.
It's when he's like off on his own
It's when he's
skirmishing.
on a flying carpet, mate, and he flies next to a unit and throws it down the front rank. 5d6, all you're taking a strength 5 hit minus 3.
Yeah.
Really good.
It's
You know, a
like-
straight line you could comfortably hit in a lance, probably 4 knights, maybe If you angle it, you could potentially get the front guy one in the
Yeah,
second,
maybe.
2 in the back if you
Yeah.
angle it right.
Yeah.
Strength 5 minus 3. It's going to
It's
hurt a
quite
lot of
scary.
stuff.
I mean, it's when you've got a flat rank of like quality knights, mate. And it
Yeah.
just goes bush, bang,
Yeah.
take a load of models off.
Yeah.
That's really strong.
Like 5-6
Um,
wide Chaos Knights.
It's light.
Just
with a
take like
flying
4
with a
more.
flying carpet. That's
On
what
a ball?
you bang. Yeah,
On a ball, on a boar's enough.
Yeah.
Well, the flying carpet is my fault. Just you can make yourself really manoeuvrable.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to struggle to deal with. Like people struggle to deal with it in 8th, let alone now. It's even worse now to deal with deal with single characters like that, especially if they're flying about.
Yeah, it's decent. So looking at our goblin-y mates.
Yep.
Mork's Curse.
Mm.
One for you, Mr. McHugh.
Yeah, it's a hex cast on an 8 with a range of 18. Remains in play. Whilst this spell is in play, the target enemy must re-roll any armor save roll of a 6.
So what
That's
happens with this shaman is he casts this spell
And runs away.
and then turns around and runs away.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just runs away, so you can't spell it.
Yeah, you can't
Yep.
dispel it. That's the thing because of the way that remains. You can wizardly dispel it.
Yeah,
It's
you
only
can
an 8.
fate it.
Fated,
You can
sorry,
fate it.
and it's only an 8. So
Yeah.
it's
Got one
it's a
nine,
more doable one.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to roll. I think
No, it's equal
casting
to
values on. I thought it was equal to on remains in.
No, it's still greater.
Stupid.
Itchy Nuisance then to finish us up. Hex, 9 to cast, range of 15, bit shorter. Targets D3 modifier to its toughness. One of the only spells that still affects strength or toughness.
Yeah.
But it's until the next start of turn sub phase, which is disappointing.
Oh, I missed initiative. Initiative's
Yeah.
wicked. Yeah, that's
Even
really
toughness and
strong.
initiative.
That's really strong.
No, that's a whole turn.
Until your next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, if you go second, it's not.
No,
Yeah.
it's until
Oh yeah, I suppose
your
it
next
still
turn.
is. Yeah,
It's a whole
because
turn.
there's some spells that aren't.
That
There's
some spells say
that
until the
say
end
until
of
the
this
end
turn.
of this turn. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is weak.
That's really strong. So
Yeah, it's really good. Very good.
Just
And
a
only
shame
casting
it's
at
short
9.
range.
Yeah,
but
it is
it's
a little bit
9,
short
which is a very easy cast.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And you can have it multiple times.
yeah, big fan of that
Yeah.
because
Good.
that's gonna suddenly make a lot of your other kind of elements really powerful.
Mm.
That has a lot of power if you can join it with things like Gaze of Gork or Brain Burster.
Yeah.
Suddenly things like dragons have got some big problems there when they're lowered to like toughness
Potentially, yeah.
4, and then
Yeah.
that's hitting them for 2s with D3 wounds,
Yeah.
no regen, no armour.
Just your ward.
That's a real counter for stuff that's tough to deal with.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I'm not sure I really see it as a big counter for dragons because you're probably going to get that combo off once in a game. Realistically, to get the both spells off, to drop its toughness by enough for you to wound
need
it
to
on
go
like
2.
2s.
And he's dropped by 2.
Yeah, but you also need to cast both spells.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but casting spells isn't the problem, dispelling spells is the problem. You got to think these guys have got. These guys, he'll
I've
get
got a lot.
pluses to
Still get the
cast.
extra +1 probably, yeah.
Um,
Although,
that's only a 9, I only need a 5.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's infinitely doable.
It's very doable.
Yeah.
I mean, like
You've
I
also got
say,
in range of both of them.
I think you've got to look at, you know,
And that's
the,
combat.
the range of, yeah, well obviously it's, the idea
That's a one shot because he's going to die to the dragon.
Yeah, 100%. But I think you just got to look at what can you do about the big tough things that are very difficult to get off the table, and
Yeah.
there's options there. And I think it's all about looking and saying, well, what options have I got? It doesn't mean I'll always be aiming to do it, but do I have that as a kind of win condition? Yeah, I do. I'll go for it. So I like to have options. I like to look at my desk and think there's 3 or 4 different things I could do. What do I think is the best shot here? And I like stuff like that. But I just think in general, anything that lowers toughness has always been strong.
Yeah.
It puts more wounds on things, and it means your opponent rolls more dice and you take more figures off. It's simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it
It's
is.
that simple. And that's us.
That's it for
Yeah.
the Orcs and Goblin Tribes.
We
Orc Goblin
have
Tribes.
we have ambled through the forest, avoided all of the bad mushrooms, and John only once hit a tree.
Only once.
Only once. Fortunately, you're not a mangler or a fanatic, so
No,
you're
sounds
not dead. So we will continue to nastily skulk into another deep dive very soon. Just not going to get my red sock in the bottom of the shop. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you head back to Night Realm Mustering Ground where you can check out all of that other exclusive content, and we are trying to punch these deep dives out at a rate at the moment to try and give you some early impressions of the way these armies look. Orcs and Goblins though, final thoughts for you?
I think
They're going to be a very, I think, infantry heavy army, but the sort of options you have around fanatics, manglers, generally the Night Goblin stuff, plus their magic items, I think could make them very solid.
I think the Wyvern characters are particularly good as well. particularly good. Like, but I think the black or big bosses and like war bosses and that wyverns are really strong.
I
You
like
get
the
to a
power.
really good save. They've got a lot of good little combos they can do with weapons. A lot of stuff is very difficult for them to deal with. 2 up, 5 up, 5 up, like pretty comfortably. With a really strong, like you can take the biggest chop by a lot of stuff like that. They've got really good combinations you can run on them.
I'd say I don't disagree with a lot of what you guys said. I think my only fear with them is that they don't look like there's as many fantastic options as, say, for Wood Elves. Or some of those other armies you look at and go, oh, I'd like this, or I'd also like that, oh, I'd like this. I think there's quite a bit of stuff in there that I look at and go, why would I take an old boy? Why would, you know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't I just take more goblins? So I do think the limiting of stuff in numbers for people in terms of saying 0 to 3 will have a huge impact on some diversity in the lists, which is good. Because otherwise, why don't I just take 6 Mangler Squigs? Why wouldn't I do it? Do you know what I mean? It's 600 points, why wouldn't I do it? So I think that's going to help a lot. I do think they're going to be one of the few armies you're going to see a real consistent mixture of stuff on the table. I do think you'll see armies that have got lots of infantry, but also with monsters supporting, with chariots supporting. I think the only thing that you probably used to see a lot of that you won't now is the artillery, because I do think it's took a real beating.
As has basically all artillery.
All artillery has, so it's not a shock that you're going to see less of it. But overall, I think there's a lot of good stuff there, and I'm sure we'll see lists develop over time.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you real soon. Remember to tag your friends and like, subscribe and share. Then head over to triplecrownwargaming.com and become a Knight of the Realm today.
What are you doing, mate?
You alright?
Do it for Warhammer!